Do you have to go all the way under, Charlie?
Yeah.
All the way down?
Hey, guys.
Full asleep?
We're about 5 minutes away here from debate time. Get these guys on here a little bit more. And we've got a guest of honor here before he goes to bed. Ryan Waits. Charlie, come here. Everybody say hi in the comments.
There he is.
Here, Charlie. Yeah, come over here. Look at this strong man here. How's your hand feeling? Good. What can you tell us about your experience of having real surgery?
I wanted to do it again because that was the best nap I ever had.
Was that pretty funny? Yeah, he said when he woke up, well, I don't know about what you said when you woke up, but when we came in to talk to him, we're like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "I want to do that again," which was very different than the attitude that he had before going into surgery. What was that attitude? Scared as heck. That's right. So just before he goes to bed, a salute.
Go, Charlie!
And we're going to make sure that we don't break any more bones. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Charlie.
Night, night. Love you.
All right.
Ice it.
Way to go, champ.
So you ready for this debate? We got Mike Pence here, which was really hard to do because he has some things to do tonight, but yet he made some time. It's backwards.
He's feeling extra wooden.
That's a fact. I was just telling Evelyn, I'm like, I should have gotten that.
I don't know. I think it's good. It's funny that everything he does has to be over that way, though. We should position him better so that he can see his own debate. So we are watching the debate tonight. You can stream us live on our YouTube page, on Facebook, facebook.com/Annie Show. If you want to go to the YouTube page, that's where we end up paying the most attention to on the Annie Fry YouTube page. Go there and see. We'll be live there. Also streaming at Annie Fry Show on Twitter. And we are 2 minutes and 56 seconds away from this VP debate. And I will let you guys go first. Ryan, Katie, what do you think is going to happen?
I think we're actually going to see Kamala for who she is, which is not a great debater. I do think she's going to throw some haymakers and probably land some good lines because they're probably written ahead of time. And,
She's memorized them.
and you're not going to have, Pence isn't going to be throwing her off constantly like Trump was. So she'll have a chance to land those things, and that'll probably be the headline tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you're watching this for substance, you're going to get more of it than last time.
Did you see the conversation we just had with Charlie? There was more substance in that conversation
Yes.
than the last debate. Katie, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, initially I thought it was going to be very boring, but people smarter than me are like, no, it's going to be great. So that's what I'm going with.
No, you might be right. We'll see. We'll see.
And before I got here, I was looking, I kind of like channel surfed and went to CNN and ABC and then Fox, of course, and MSNBC. And a lot of pundits on these different channels are actually anticipating Mike Pence to do a very good job. And they're saying, you know, Kamala's going to have a tough time with Pence because he knows how to debate. This is his wheelhouse. He's very gentle and he's very controlled. So I think the anticipation right now is to see what she has to offer. Like you said, she'll probably stick some things. But all in all, if you're looking for policy, this probably is the better debate to watch.
Jimmy says, Kama Llama Llama Kamala Chameleon. Thanks for making me read that, Jimmy. My anticipation for this is that I said this to Katie beforehand. I'll say it to you. I think it's very possible that Mike Pence could win back the election for Donald Trump tonight because Mike Pence is going to get to talk about this is not about Mike Pence and Kamala Harris. This is about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, except for the fact that Donald Trump just was in the hospital, Walter Reed, with COVID, and Joe Biden is 98 years old. So the VPs matter, of course. But I do think that Mike Pence is going to articulate to the American people in a really impactful way what the Trump administration has been able to do. And I would do a lot of directing questions right back to Kamala because Joe Biden's been on I'm a moderate. I beat the socialists. That's why I'm here. Kamala is ridiculously progressive as far as it gets, unlikable as can be. Kamala Harris is not a likable candidate. And it has to do with her past. It has to do with how she has risen to the place where she is right now. And you don't have to ask me why I don't like her. You can ask the Democratic Party why they don't like her. She dropped out before the first vote was cast in the primaries because her polling numbers were so incredibly low. Democrats don't like Kamala Harris, and that's a problem. And it's up to Mike Pence tonight to remind those Democrats why they don't like her and to remind Republicans why they need to stop her. And I think Mike Pence is exactly the person who needs to do that.
She had full momentum too, if you remember. She was the candidate to beat for like a month. It was, well, she's going to be the one.
Yeah.
Even Trump was like, wow, she came out pretty well,
strong,
which from him,
Yeah,
that's
that's a compliment.
Pam wants to
And then she
know,
lost it.
what's for dinner, Katie?
I'm eating pizza.
Casey's
Pizza.
gas station pizza. It's as good as it gets.
it really is.
So we just got a pizza this time, no chili, because I am here after running around like crazy today because Charlie had surgery, as you just saw at the beginning of this. Charlie had his finger operated on. He's got a full cast. So I was fortunate enough to get a shower in before doing this and just trying to get everything, all the mom stuff done in time to do the work Annie Fry show stuff, which is right now. So we're glad to be here. So please comment along. Make sure you're watching us. You can follow us on YouTube. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube page. It's the same exact thing you're going to see on Facebook, but there's a little more interaction that can go on there as well. Melanie says, what are you drinking? Well, we've got Sprite Zero and Stumpy's Lemon Drop. What do you guys think?
I'm done with my drink, and I got it handed to me about 20 minutes ago. It's so good. So good.
The lemon drop goes really well with the Sprite, and it's pretty
great.
delicious. And we also, confession, in Tennessee this weekend, we took all the Stumpies with us, and the honey whiskey is gone, and the lemon drop Ryan just finished,
That's it.
and we've got the pecan pie, which I didn't take to Tennessee with me. We're going to mix with some pumpkin spice Prairie Farms milk and some Halloween eggnog back there. So we're going to have that second time around here and see how that goes. So
Where can
pretty
you
delicious.
get that whiskey from, by the way? I was thinking about
Schnooks,
that. Okay.
Friar Tuck's, Total Wine and More. You can go to Stumpy's in Columbia and see some of their awesome stuff. They've got great like apparel too. It looks really cool, and it's awesome to be able to support them. They're local, and seriously, the stuff is super good. And last time we went and did this, I got several notes from people who went to Stumpy's afterwards, and they were talking about the Annie Fry show when they were there. So make sure when you show up, if you go to Stumpy's, make sure you mention the Annie Fry show when you do, because we want to make sure they know that we're sending all sorts of people that
And
way.
make an absolute embarrassment of yourself.
And then say
I'm from the Annie Fry show.
say I'm from the Dave Glover show. And then have somebody much more collected come in and like in a tuxedo
I'm Bond, James Bond.
from the Annie Fry show.
I'm the Monopoly man from the Annie Fry show.
Why do they have so many people on this panel right now?
To kill time.
So many people on the panel.
All right, how's Dana Perino look? A question that Katie and I have to ask every time, and the answer is always just stunning.
Stunning.
Devin says Casey's is fire.
Who raise your hand if you've had Casey's breakfast pizza?
Oh yeah, so good.
I've bought both of you Casey's
Yep.
breakfast pizza before.
Oh, you have? Oh,
Yeah,
You've
when
done
you
that
came and
with me
picked me
several
up and you took me
Oh, yeah,
hostage
that's
to
right.
the scary place.
that's right.
The scary place.
That was my gift to you.
It's funny
So
how that
who is
works.
this? Who is this moderator? Who is this?
I don't know.
Susan Yates or something like
I
that.
feel like I'm coming into this like a normal
Susan
person.
Yates.
So today, okay.
Can you hear me that remote? Because I haven't studied up on this debate as much as I normally have because I didn't do the show today.
She just works for USA Today. Nobody knows who she is.
It's
I kinda
almost
like
more
that.
encouraging, yeah. All right, you guys, you're gonna have to tell us your comments and thoughts along the way.
We have a small and socially distant audience.
William wants to
and
know,
we've
where
taken
did you get
extra precautions
the huge
during
Pence
this
head
debate.
asking for a friend?
Among other
I got it from
things,
Katie.
everyone in the audience
Yeah,
is
I
required
made
to
it
wear a
somewhere
face
using,
mask,
gosh,
and
The internet?
will
Yeah,
be
the
seated
internet.
12 feet apart.
The internet.
Big heads, big heads.
The audience is
.com.
enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice. At the end of the debate. And now,
What?
But each
But
person
two
gets to
times at
pick.
their own discretion. Yes, Susan!
This is my one. Yeah, Kamala.
Kamala Harris wearing
Oh,
all
there-
black
Oh
suit
man.
or navy. Navy.
Maybe.
She's got to do this in heels. It's not as easy. There's a weird partition that's going to do absolutely nothing in between them. Mike Pence in a nice suit and a red tie.
Mike Pence looking real uncomfortable.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
What to do.
They're like greeting each other, but
Senator
just
Harris
with like
and
head
Vice
nods.
President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus.
Good way to open that up.
The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching.
Unlike Chris Wallace, who
One note,
sucks.
No one in either campaign
I really
or at
like
the
that we don't
Commission
know this.
or anywhere else has been told in
I kinda do
advance
too.
what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Mike Pence and Kamala fought the way the other two did?
Yes, like it was the exact
Yeah.
same debate.
Come on, man, you clown. Who would say that?
Somebody
Which,
had to walk
which,
up to that.
who would be more
partition.
likely to call whom a clown?
Oh gosh,
Kamala.
you know the answer to that. Kamala.
No love for
Kamala.
Kamala here.
Mike Pence ain't calling nobody a clown.
Wouldn't that be like mind blowing?
The punctuation at the end of this needs to be somebody walking up and like wiping all the snot and spit off of this thing from them yelling at each
Ryan.
other.
Tumultuous times,
Ryan.
but we can and will have a respectful
It's disgusting.
about the
I hate that thought.
facing our nation.
What's she right?
Let's begin with
We
the
can't
ongoing-
use happy
Jimmy says, I
Never
like
use
Katie's
this.
outfit. She looks like a 4th of July holly hobby. You might not know who
Senator
that is.
Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set
She's
new
like, ooh,
records.
let me at it.
Even if
Trump's
the
got
vaccine is
COVID.
released
She
today,
looks
the
really
next
great, though.
administration will face
She always
hard
does.
choices.
Nice.
What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose
There you go.
new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots?
Great question.
A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond
She has a
without
marker,
interruption.
apparently.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our
What
country.
would you do though?
Well, that's bold.
What would you
And
do?
here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country.
I heard it was
Just the
200
last several
million.
months.
Yep.
Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been
I'm
treated
kidding.
like sacrificial workers. We are looking at
The emphatic
over
head
30
nod
million people
has driven me crazy
who in the last
from day
several
one of
months
knowing Kamala
had to
Harris.
file for unemployment.
Wait, they already
And
just
here's
gave
the
each
thing.
other eye contact, and I love
On
that. They
January
already just looked at
28th,
each other.
Joe Biden wouldn't look at
the
Trump.
vice president and the president were informed
Mike Pence
about
goes,
the nature of this
Clown.
virus. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence,
That
that it
didn't
is
happen.
airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne.
Uh-oh.
And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th?
She's getting this from a really
March
reputable
13th,
source, Bob
what they
Woodward.
knew, what you
So
might have done to prepare?
Yeah,
They
from a
knew and they
misused
covered
Trump
it up.
quote.
The president said it was a hoax.
No.
They knew-
Oh,
that's a lie. You're an effing liar.
You're on one side of his ledger.
It's a lie. President Trump didn't say it was a hoax.
And
Oh my gosh, I
despite
do not
all
like
of
her.
that, Today, they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy.
You guys, this is going to ruin my blood pressure for the night. Way more than the other
The
one.
vaccine and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the
He's already
plan
said
that
that.
Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on
that's it.
and we need to save our
Just making sure the
country.
vaccine's
And Joe
free.
Biden is the best
Yes,
leader
that's
to
what
do that.
Democrats do.
This is
They
a
give you
business.
everything for free after you pay for it.
I assume that it's going to be free anyway.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
People comment if you have kids watching in the area, because I'm going to say bad words, and I won't. I
She
won't do
still
it.
didn't answer what they would have done,
She just said getting the vaccine, which is like,
every other
which is
wealthy
what
nation.
Trump is doing.
I'm
Yeah.
mad.
For
I'm gonna eat
instance,
some
our
pizza.
death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage.
Classy. Classy.
Clown.
We've gone through a very challenging time this summer. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world.
Joe Biden said
Now,
that was
Senator
xenophobic.
Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical.
See,
And I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up for the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done today.
talk to
We
me,
were
Mike
able to
Pence.
see to the delivery of billions
Sultry
of
voice.
supplies, so our doctors and nurses had the resources.
What's the
support they needed.
guy? The
And we
cartoon he looks
began
like?
really before the month
We
of
say it
February,
all the time.
I don't-
developed
Johnny
vaccines.
Quest or
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Medicine
but
that
something.
keeps
Something.
saving lives all along the way.
Somebody tell me who he looks like.
Leadership,
It's something on, like,
Operation
Adult
Warp Speed,
Swim or
we
something.
believe We'll have literally tens of millions of doses of vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the
Boy,
way.
all of the things that
And quite
Kamala's doing
frankly,
here,
When I look at
her
their
facial
plan, it talks
expressions,
about
women don't get to do
advancing
that.
testing,
It's not fair,
creating
but
the
it's true.
PPE, developing a vaccine. It looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first.
Oh, you
and
can shut him up
American
now?
People,
Interesting.
I believe with my heart, can be
Thank you.
proud of the sacrifices they have made. It's saved
Thank you,
countless
Mr.
American lives.
Senator Harris.
How did he just do that off the
Sweet.
cuff?
Absolutely.
I told you.
Whatever the vice
He's a conveyor
president
belt.
claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over
Stop hitting your head like
210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have
Yeah,
been
they said
lost,
2 million.
families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's
That's-
go.
Yeah.
And I want to add, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
Oh, don't.
Don't.
This doesn't play well.
And then we'll give the vice
This
president
doesn't play well.
So I want to ask the American
That- don't do that.
He's not. He's not. He just said he wanted to weigh in.
No, not her. Not him.
How calm
Her.
were you
Oh.
when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your
For her to be
parents
like, I'm
because
speaking.
you were afraid they could kill them?
No.
Shut up.
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You know,
respond.
there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every
Clown.
American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers.
Eye contact with
But
me.
when you say what the American
you.
people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice. The sacrifices
What's wrong
the
with his
American
I
people
think he
made.
popped the blood. That's
Oh,
all
The
fine.
reality, if I may finish.
If he did, it'll be amazing to see how
The
the media
reality
treats
is
it because
Dr.
Joe
Fauci
Biden popped a
said
blood vessel at a
Everything
debate.
that he
Mhm.
told the president in the Oval Office, the
Right.
president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence. That we
Brad
could
says,
do
"How
this
calm were you
together."
when you couldn't find
But when
TV?"
you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. But that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us, if we
President
did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan,
Okay, Susan.
but the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made.
It's about the people. It's not about the government.
And their neighbors.
there's
first,
your
our
distinction.
Doctors, our nurses, our first.
Thank you, Vice
Hey, Jerry.
President Pence.
And I'm going to
Are you
speak
going
up on
upstairs?
behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row.
You can put that in my
a
drive.
Rose Garden event 11
I
days
like
ago.
Susan.
What seems to have been a super spreader.
She's fine.
event for
Certainly
senior
easier for her than it was for Chris Wallace.
No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who
What a
were there.
cluster.
How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
I'm good.
Well, the
Thank you.
American
That's not even a
people
fair question.
have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,000.
Cheryl says the difference here is that Trump and Pence are for Americans and Biden and Harris only want to control them.
New York, New Orleans, and
Good point,
we
Cheryl.
told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifice. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. The vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Thank you, Vice
But
President.
what if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Sharon and I were there, and I wanted to be there.
Katie, how do you feel
Many
about the way
people who
Kamala's
were
looking at Mike
that
Pence?
Susan actually were tested for coronavirus.
I think it's all for
Can I
optics.
just get Ryan Wiggins' own
All of
table?
our scientists regularly
Every food we're
routinely
using, I
have.
have to go.
The difference
nice.
here is
Nice,
President
Jerry.
Trump and
I think it's all for
trust
optics.
the
I think it's
people
for her
make
people to make a
choices in
meme
the best interest of
and for them to be like,
Joe Biden,
strong ass
Kamala
woman
Harris
Yeah.
staring down
consistently
Mike
talk about
Pence.
Mandates,
Right.
and not
Like
just
that, yeah.
mandates for the
I mean,
coronavirus, but
Yeah.
You're right.
the government
Ryan,
takeover of health
Thank
care,
Got a comment for
the
you.
Green
It
New
was good.
Deal, all government control. We're about freedom
Brush your
and
shoulders
respecting
off.
freedom and democracy.
Let's talk about respecting the American people.
Your reaction is the
You
same
respect
every
the
time.
American people when you have the courage. You respect the American people when you have the courage. So
Someone
to be a
told me today
leader
about your
speaking
outfit.
of those things that you
Totally
name,
Albert.
people desire
It
that
had
they
to be
need
Albert.
here so they can protect
Big fan.
themselves.
Yeah, he's a big
But
fan
this
of me. Just
administration
my
stood
physical
on
appearance.
information that if
Kama-
you had as a
Kamala?
parent, if you
Kamala.
had as a worker,
Kamala,
you didn't
jeez
have
Louise.
enough money saved
Um,
up. And now
She
you're
gave everybody those
standing
dirty
frontline
looks during the debates
because-
too.
I don't like him.
the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling
Just
to
this right
speak the truth to the
And there's
American
ice in the
people.
freezer.
So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have sacrificed far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people. No, but it is asking too much of the people. If they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect their parents and
President,
their
I'm sorry.
children.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I mean, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if
What do they think? That Trump's going to
It's
release
Trump's
the vaccine
vaccine.
himself?
You made it.
It's Trump's vaccine, it's Trump's virus. That's what they're
Yeah.
perpetuating.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our
Oh, here
second
comes
topic.
Trump in a lab coat. He's got a vaccine.
He's like,
I spent the weekend in the hospital and look what I found.
Tremendous.
It was wonderful.
Oldest
Huge.
President of the United States.
You can sit down here.
Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised
love
concerns
that
among
greatest
some
showman.
voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's
Great move.
hospitalization
It is
in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
Well,
to the
thank
issue
you, but I
of
would like to go back because
Thank you.
the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trial, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the
No
Trump
interruption.
administration, I think
Susan said so.
is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality
He got to it before
is
she could.
that we will have a vaccine.
He's got to
legally
piss her off.
before the end of this year. And it will have the
Get under her
capacity to
skin.
save countless American lives. And
Remember when Joe Biden forgot that Kamala Harris was also a black senator?
of confidence in the vaccine is just, it's just
When he's like,
unacceptable.
I've been endorsed by the only black female senator in the Senate, and she's like,
About
no.
We actually do know what
She and
failure
Cory
looks like
Booker
in
were
the
like,
pandemic.
that's not
It
true.
was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it was ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus.
William says
But
Pence
before the
being an
end of the
absolute
year,
boss.
when Joe
Yes,
Biden
I think
was
that's how you
vice
say
president
that.
of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted
I
the
want
swine
Mike
flu.
Pence to read me bedtime stories.
60 million Americans contracted the swine
Ooh,
flu.
I think it's time for a.
If the swine flu had been as lethal
Do you want
as
egg-
coronavirus
eggnog or
in
pumpkin spice?
2009, when
Eggnog
Joe
or
Biden was
pumpkin
vice
spice?
president,
Pumpkin
we would have
spice.
lost 2
Eggnog
million American
Or
lives.
pumpkin spice.
His own
Eggnog.
chief of staff.
Yeah.
Ryan
I
would
don't
like
care.
an eggnog. I would like a pumpkin,
Last
or
year,
no, Katie would like pumpkin
this is
spice, and I'll
true.
take whatever I want to taste. I want to
I
taste
actually
them
don't
both.
care. I will just lay down on the floor and you guys can pour things in my
Thank you,
face.
Jared.
Anything that Ryan Wiggins likes as a grown ass man is milk. Pumpkin spice.
People
I'm gonna put
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry.
great bourbon and a pumpkin
Thank you,
spice.
Do you want me to empty this out and you can just reuse this?
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I
I want
asked
too many cups.
Vice President Pence, which
We
is.
wouldn't want that.
I don't want that.
These are kids who use 4 forks for each dinner. It's fine.
About
I dropped mine on the floor
safeguards
again.
of
2 forks, a
procedures
spoon, and
when
3
it comes to the issue
knives.
of presidential
Well, straws.
disability, and if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call.
Yes, he was red
asking
to speak.
me to serve with
Oh
him
my
on this
gosh.
ticket was probably one of the most
Right.
memorable days. of my
You're
life.
putting the pecan pie in that, right?
You know,
I was gonna put the straight.
I
in
No.
thought about
In
my
the
mother
eggnog.
No.
who
Pumpkin pie?
came to the
Pecan
United
pie,
States at the age of 19
In the pumpkin spice?
and gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud.
Ooh, yeah.
Just be looking
That
down.
sounds really good.
You know, Joe and I were raised in a very similar way.
Oh,
We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and
I'll
about
tell you
the
what, this
importance of
answer
fighting for the dignity
is
of all
a big
people.
swing and
I
miss
think
right
Joe
after that
asked me
big
to
hit
serve
from.
with him
It's because she's
you know,
talking
I
about
have a
herself.
career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco.
I'm sorry,
where I
but the
created
story of how
models
you got
of
there is just
innovation
not
for
savory.
the law enforcement in terms of reforming the criminal
Whipped
justice
cream.
system. I was elected the
Wait.
first
what is she
woman
getting
of
to?
color
I'm
and
wondering.
black
Oh,
woman to
thank
be
you.
elected
Yeah, I don't know.
attorney
I don't know
general
what
Let's see what we got
question
here.
California,
So this
where
is
I
a
ran the second
pumpkin
longest
spice.
justice in the United States, second only to the United States
Pumpkin
Department of
spice Prairie
Justice.
Farms
I
milk
took on everything
with
from
pecan,
transnational criminal
Stumpy's
organizations
pecan pie
to the big
whiskey in
banks that
it,
were
and
taking
some whipped
advantage
cream.
of homeowners,
You have
to
that's never been
for-profit
drank in this
colleges
house,
that
so
were
you have to tell us what it is.
I want to take a
And
picture of
then,
it.
of
It
course,
looks
now
so
I
pretty.
serve in the United States Senate. as
I'm a millennial. Leave me alone.
You don't even have
United States
Instagram.
Senate. I serve in
We
the
need a
Senate
straw.
Republican.
I just want to. This
No,
is
she's
just
got
so
it
pretty.
to
I just got the
document
beats
it.
in the
Information
background.
about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones, and I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days,
What are you
President
doing to
Trump's
Mike Pence
doctors have
back there?
given misleading answers or
Starting to
refused
get
to
a crush
answer
on him.
basic
Yeah.
questions about his health.
Just
And
fell
my
on
question
He's-
to each of
he's
you
falling all over
sir,
me.
Is
Such a
this
pretty cute
information
May God have mercy on your
deserve
soul.
to know?
Church says we're all dumber for having listened to that.
Well, this is- thank you. And let me.
Albert
let
says
me
you look like
say,
a young Jennifer
on
Aniston,
behalf of
Katie.
the President,
That is one of the best compliments I think I've ever had.
Albert's
Thanks,
about to
Albie.
tell Ryan he looks like an old Jennifer
Yeah.
Aniston.
This is just a,
Like an old
this is-
Courtney
that was a
Cox.
setup for whatever jokes coming.
It's so good.
A concern of usher for every American impacted
It's so good.
by the coronavirus.
Do you need a
But the
straw?
care the president received.
No, this is
At Walter
one
Reed
of the best
Hospital.
drinks I think I've
The White
had like
House
someone
doctors
make
was
me
exceptional.
at their home.
That's what you said about the Stumpy's lemon drop here, and that's what you said about the whiskey slush. the
All
last
three,
time.
Yeah,
top
why are you
five.
being disingenuous with the
No,
people?
but
This is probably the best one though.
of the
This is
president
number one.
That's a treat.
will continue to do
Yeah,
that.
this is a
But I'm just
after
extremely
hours.
grateful And was
I'm all for doing it
more
during
than
business
moved,
hours.
by the broad and bipartisan support. of- Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call.
Pence is flattering Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago.
Is this
so
coming through
I know
the TV
feeling.
and the
But,
soundbar?
The reality is,
It is now.
we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher. But I
Thank you.
think the
Thank
choice
you,
has
Vice
never been
President.
clear.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates
one did
and
you want?
especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some
Big no.
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not.
Should the health
Both in
information of
terms
the presidential
health
candidates
records,
be
but
known
also
to the
let's look
American
at
people?
taxes. We now know because of great investigative journalism. That Donald
Is that,
Trump paid
am I stupid, but is that something
$750
that
in
has happened
taxes.
before?
When I first
Do
heard
do
about
we
it,
typically know
I
the health
literally said,
of
you mean
Oh, thank you.
$750,000?
The president's?
Never been a huge question.
And like an issue?
We now know
This is
Donald
aimed at
Trump
Biden.
owes
And
and
it
is
happens
in
to
debt
be
for
time to where
$400
Trump just had
million.
COVID.
And
So
just
they're
so everyone
they're
is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know
What?
who the president of the United States, the commander in chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the president's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people?
I would like to know who is influencing Joe Biden's decisions.
Self-interest. So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has
This
been
is the most
incredibly
transparent administration.
over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest. He is forthright. But Donald Trump,
That's
on
because
the
he
other
can't
hand,
remember
has
what's
been
right or wrong.
covering up
So he just
everything.
throws it all out there and
Thank
hopes
you,
that
Senator.
it's
I want to give you a chance to respond.
a thing.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe
I'm a
Biden
big
spent
fan of
47
Halloween
years
eggnog,
in
for the
public
record.
life. I respect your
Prairie Farms Halloween
public
eggnog,
service as well.
delish.
The American people have a president who's a businessman, a job creator. who's
Doesn't
paid
she look like
tens of millions
you don't
of
want to be
dollars
looked
in
at like that
taxes,
from somebody, right?
payroll taxes,
No,
property
it's all,
taxes.
that's
He's
totally a
created
strategy.
tens of thousands of American jobs.
Ryan, when you're
The president
talking,
said
do I look at you
those
like that?
public reports are not accurate.
I would say most.
Well,
Because it's also released literally
Yeah,
stacks of things that discloses the American people.
stop
can-
talking with your mouth
can
full.
use just as,
He said no.
but
No.
The distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years
With
in
the
public service, compared
look
to
at
President Donald
it's
Trump,
just so
who
like
brought all of that experience
condescending.
4 years ago
Thank you,
and
Vice President.
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation.
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President.
energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
mind
President.
if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
Very
good
much.
segue into our third
Great
topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected
This is
by
so
this
decent.
coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned
can't believe these two are the vice presidents.
7.9%
This is very
in September,
decent.
but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly
Yeah, just for the
11
record,
million
DeSantis
jobs
in
that
Florida,
existed
Republican, they're
before
open. California
haven't been
and
replaced.
Newsom, not
Those
open.
hardest
28,000
hit
people
were
losing their
Latinos,
jobs because of
Blacks,
it.
and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that
If I get around to my car
new
real quick.
spending by raising
No.
$4 trillion
Yes.
in
Yes, it
taxes
is.
I just
on
didn't wanna
wealthy
wake up.
individuals and corporations.
Oh, no.
Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer. I'm interrupting.
On the issue of the
You can
economy,
bring the
I
kids.
think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measured the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing,
Baloney.
which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the
Sitting on
American
pillows.
people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest.
How about the
that
Green New
money
Deal?
in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So,
One
for
of my good
example,
friends
the
just
folks who want
messaged
to
me.
go
She's
to a
like,
two-year
wow, this
community
debate
college,
is
it will be
so
different.
She's like,
That's
why
how
are
it's
these two
supposed to
running
be.
for president?
They kinda are.
And this is a good friend of mine that doesn't know who she's voting for yet and is relying on these debates.
What did she say?
A good friend of mine is saying,
That's
wow,
how Joe Biden thinks
these
about
two
the
are very
economy.
common
It's
presidential.
about
Why aren't they running to
investing
be the
in people
president?
of our country,
She said that just
as opposed to
it's
passing a
totally
tax
different than
bill,
what we saw last
which
week.
had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. When Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings.
I felt it in my family,
And
and
with
I'm
the
not
rise in
high rolling.
wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after
That's what he said.
a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs
I agree.
because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, saved 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion
Joe
Green
Biden
New
said
Deal,
that
which
he
you
was
were one of the
absolutely
original
repealing
co-sponsors of in the
Trump's
United States Senate.
tax cut.
They
He
want to
said it
abolish
himself.
fossil
So if she wants to
fuels.
say that's not true,
Ban
then she needs to
fracking,
get
which
with
would
Joe.
cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China that when we took office,
I
half
love
of
you,
our
Mike
international
Pence.
trade deficit was with China alone.
Let's just
And
sit
Joe
right
Biden wants
here
to
in the
repeal
economy.
all of the tariffs.
Live
that President
right
Trump
in
put
this
in
space.
to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the
I have
ballot
3 drinks.
with 4 more years of growth.
Susan was like, I was getting ready to make a mistake
President
until he said that.
Yeah.
And now I got to make no mistake about it.
Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000.
That's bullshit. He said he was gonna. Sorry. He said he was going to repeal the Trump tax cut. I made more money because of the Trump tax cut. I bet you made more money because of the Trump tax cut. And we're not millionaires and billionaires.
That was great.
What'd he say?
He just said what he said.
You just said what you said, but he started off with being like,
But better.
debate about the truth.
You just said about the truth.
That
Yeah.
is absolutely not true.
And she's
That's
like, yeah,
what we
yeah.
don't-
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cut?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And then when we're done, you can go to your room.
Taxes on anyone who makes less than
I don't
$400,000
want that.
a year. He's been very clear about that.
No, he has not
Joe
been
Biden will
clear.
not end fracking. He has been very clear about that.
Oh,
He's the one who.
But she's doing it because she wants him to get riled up. I don't want Pence to take that bait.
That brought America back, and now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster.
Because of COVID, and everybody knows that.
yeah, that's not going
That's
anywhere.
so
That argument
disingenuous.
just doesn't go
Who
anywhere.
has reigned over
Not even for
a
Democrats.
recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act.
I'm getting a lot of
Which brought
women
healthcare
commenting
to
on
over
here who are
20
not
million
loving Kamala
Americans
right
and
now.
protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of
I
hospital
feel
bills
like the
they could not
economy is
afford.
where Joe
On the other
Biden
hand,
is
if
the
Donald
most
Trump is in court
hypocritical
right now,
because he
trying to
also
get rid
said
of-
that
like
he
you
would
said,
shut
hard
it
to
all
get rid of
down again.
the
Yeah.
Affordable
Yeah, their
Care
message
Act.
makes no
Which means
sense.
that
So totally
you need
backwards.
protections if you have pre-existing conditions, and this is very important, Susan.
Yes.
And it's
But we need to get
Important
we need to
enough
get
that you
back
take
to
the
Just
rules
like
and shut it.
he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you
Control.
have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
That's wrong.
If you love
That's a
someone
lie.
who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator.
coming
Yeah,
for
you're
you.
letting her have
If you
extra
are
time so
under
she can
26
blatantly lie to the American
Medicare
people.
coverage,
Shut
they're coming
her
for you.
face
Senator
up
Harris, thank
now.
you.
I
Let me
can't
give you
stand
a
this
chance to
woman.
respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect
Dan says, I
pre-existing
so hate that I
conditions for
find
every
Kamala Harris attractive.
American.
She's pretty.
She's very pretty.
She's very
Harris,
pretty.
You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running
You're
for
lying.
president
I think she
that
said
you
good
would ban
line.
fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we
Everything
will
that
abolish
Kamala
fossil
is
fuel."
doing is
We
exactly
have a
what people
$2
do when they're
trillion
losing the
version of
argument.
Green
Yeah.
New Deal.
She's,
Susan,
like,
your
up against the
newspaper,
wall.
USA Today said, really wasn't that very
Sassy,
different from the original
deflecting.
Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation,
Yep.
banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you provided the
Dude's-
perfect
dude's
segue to a
winning.
new topic, which
Big
is
time.
I don't think
climate
it's
change. And Vice
really
President
debatable.
Pence, I'd like to pose the first question.
You want to yell at each other about it?
Record-setting
Shut up,
hurricanes in
Katie.
the South.
Katie's just texting on her phone.
And we've
Good
seen
line.
record-setting wildfires in the West.
that was probably her best
Do you
moment of the night
As
so
the
far.
scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower.
Albert says, can
and
Katie
more
sing I'll Be
damaging.
There For You
You have 2 minutes.
while Ryan dances like
Thank you,
Ross?
Oh
First
my
off,
I was
God.
waiting. You know what? I almost
Okay.
said, here comes a Ross joke. I almost called it.
All
I should have
the
just said it
best
because I
estimates
knew it was
are-
coming.
Our air and land are cleaner
Thank you,
than
God.
any time ever recorded. And our
Debbie
water
says
among
Kamala
the
is so
cleanest
smug.
in the world. And
Yes.
just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act, the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years.
Jimmy's
So
got to run.
President
Bye,
Trump has
Jimmy.
made a
Bye,
commitment
Jimmy.
Bye,
to
Jimmy.
conservation of the environment.
Best line
Now,
from
with
Susan
regard to
tonight.
climate change,
The fires are
the climate
bigger,
is changing.
hotter,
The
faster
issue
instead of
is,
wetter,
what's the
dumber, and
cause?
slower.
And where to go about it. President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal.
Kevin
which
says,
would
you're crazy,
crush
Ryan. He's
American
not
energy,
winning.
would increase the energy
What?
costs of American
He's killing her.
families and their homes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Crush American
Thank you
jobs.
for putting that into 2 different messages too, because for a moment I thought you were insane.
And I thought Kevin was a pretty big Trump supporter. I was like, oh, wow, maybe we're reading this entirely wrong.
We have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is
Carlos says, Albert, just thank you for the laughs. So there's some encouragement for Albert.
more
Don't do
than the
that,
countries
Carla.
that are still in the
Shame on
Paris
you,
Climate
Carla.
Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. With regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists use hurricanes and wildfires to try and sell the bill of goods of a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put American jobs and American workers first.
Senator Harris, as
How
the
do you
Vice
not
President,
lose
you co-sponsor
track of
the
what you're going to say
Green Deal
next when
Congress.
someone is like, thank you.
Vice President
Thank
Biden said
you,
in last
Key.
week's
You
debate
focus on
that
what
he
you're
does
saying
not
and you make
support
sure
the
you
Green New Deal.
just,
But if you look
That'd
at
be
the
so
Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green
I don't
New
know,
Deal
ask Joe Biden and
as a
Donald Trump.
crucial framework. What exactly would be
This
the stance
moderator is
of
doing a
Biden-Harris
good job.
administration
She's being
toward
fair.
the
She's
Green
hitting
New
both
Deal?
sides
We
pretty
have
well.
2 minutes uninterrupted.
How do you guys think
Sure. So
the
first of
moderator's
all,
doing? I know some of you are saying she's super
and the
biased.
American people
I don't see it.
that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact.
It's
That
a
is
new fact, maybe, but
I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about
Joe Biden has
growing
been a lot of
jobs,
things,
which is
and
why
clear
he's
has
Not
never,
clear.
ever,
No.
ever been one of them. Clear is the opposite.
Clear as mud.
Joe Biden's
Clear as
economic
mud.
plan. Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked
So
with
far,
the
Trump is
farmers in Iowa,
responsible for
whose
the
entire
coronavirus
crops
and
have been
hurricanes
destroyed because of
and
floods.
fires.
yes.
And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served when I first got to the Senate on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, you know, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net.
I wouldn't trust Joe
zero
Biden when he
emissions by
says creation of
2050,
millions of
carbon
jobs.
neutral
Million
by
is a word he throws
2035.
around
Joe
very
has a
loosely.
plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice
You
President
can't
Pence,
face
do you believe
discrimination
that climate
by doing
change
that, 'cause it's
poses
already
an
making my blood boil.
existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is
Professors.
changing. We
Really?
follow the
Grinding my
science.
gears.
Once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one, he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's
there
going to
it
resubmit
is.
America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking.
Michael on YouTube says Mike Pence is debating to get facts out that Trump did not articulate clearly last week. Harris is debating to get tweets and highlight real zings. I think that's very accurate, Michael.
Retrofit 4 million
Thank you, Vice President.
business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But,
you, Vice
you know, on
President.
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. He lost that trade war. He lost it. What ended up happening is because of
Which
the
trade war?
so-called trade war with China,
China?
America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs.
No, Donald
Farmers
Trump put America
have
first and
experienced
stopped.
bankruptcy
Oh
because
my
of
God.
it. We are in a manufacturing recession.
The other debate didn't make me this mad because nobody made any
And
points to
when we
get under my
look
skin.
at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential
That's because of COVID,
The
you.
American people know what I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me?
Yeah, that happened to me when I got out of
We're
college
looking at people who
in
are trying
2006,
to figure
and the
out
job market didn't
how
get
they're
better for a
gonna pay
long
rent
time.
By the end of the month, almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on.
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden was a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And
She has the same
Senator
head
Harris, you're
shake.
entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. That's the kind of growth.
I'm gonna run my hand through his hair.
All right.
This pandemic, the Green New Deal, your passive.
I wonder if he can feel that.
Wouldn't that be funny if he was like,
He's like, "Whoa."
I don't think his hair moves.
15 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you.
1,
Joe Biden
2,
is responsible for
3,
saving America's auto industry,
5,
and you voted against
6,
it. So
7,
let's set the record straight.
8.
Thank you.
I'd like to talk about
Okay.
China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries?
Susan, can I ask you a
enemies?
question?
You
How
have
did
2
you end
minutes.
up here? Who exactly are you?
Well, let me, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close.
Joe Kelly
We saw
says on
automotive
YouTube,
jobs
maybe
go
Pence
south
should
of the
debate
border. President
Biden.
Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know that Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. I think the American people deserve to know that. It's probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019, more liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. And China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it
Thank
was
you, Vice
xenophobic.
President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice President
stood
Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field, and we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes
I
uninterrupted.
like this question.
Yeah.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice
Because they weren't
President Biden.
accomplishments.
For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics.
Is she sitting on an
They got
exercise
away,
ball?
they got rid of it.
Not true.
There
No.
was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before.
I can't
the trade
believe
deal, the trade war.
that they're
they
going
wanted
down
to
this
call it, with
jobs
China.
route.
I
It
know.
resulted
Stay
in
on
the loss
jobs.
of over
Like, stay on
300
jobs and stay on China, because
manufacturing
those
jobs
are
and a
not
manufacturing
issues that they're going to win.
And the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods because of that.
Chip Kelly
failed.
says killing Obama's accomplishments.
war
That took
that
about
they
what,
called
5 minutes?
And let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they
That's
do
because they're
Donald
crapping
Trump,
their
the
pants.
President of the United States, the
Because
commander
Trump
in chief
came
of the
in and was
United
like,
States.
bring us
This
to the
is where we
table
are
or we
today.
outie.
Because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator
Whoa.
Harris, we've seen changes
All right.
in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strange.
Did she
with
answer the
China, of
question
course,
if
as
China
the
is a
Vice
friend or a
President
foe?
mentioned.
No, she
We've
didn't.
seen strange with our
It's the
traditional
one that
allies
needs to have an
in
answer from
NATO
them.
and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, foreign policy, it might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships.
Listen, Kamala.
So we know this in our
I don't know if you knew
professional
this.
relationships. You got to keep
Just
your
think about it
loyalty.
as a relationship.
Got to be loyal to
Me
your
and
friends.
you,
People who
we're
stick
friends,
with you,
right?
Got to stand with them. You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example,
Iran?
Russia.
Oh.
So
Yeah, let's talk about Russia.
Russia-
Should we
I
ask
serve on the
Hillary?
intelligence
Oh,
committee
Trump.
of the United States
Our
Senate.
feds, look at his face. He's ready.
America's
Wait for
intelligence
this.
community told us Russia interfered in the election of the president.
Do you guys remember when we were waiting to find out who the vice president was?
Christopher
And I
Wray, the
said,
director
Kamala
of the
Harris
FBI,
would be my
said the
worst
same.
nightmare. So it'll
But
probably be
Donald
her.
Trump, the commander in
I
chief
do
of the
remember
United
And it's
States
just
of
because I
America,
can't stand it.
prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the
I wish we
American
could have
intelligence.
Snow Woman.
You look at our friends.
So
at
I
NATO.
said,
Just walked away.
let's see how your hair fares in a blizzard. I don't even remember what her name is.
Amy Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar.
Snow Woman.
I can do the whole Snow Woman scene, but I couldn't remember what her name was.
We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends.
Is she
with
about out of
allies around
time?
the country. And because of
Seems
Donald
like
Trump's
she's got about
unilateral
5 or 6 minutes here.
foreign policy,
Everyone's saying the time is
coupled with his
balanced. We should time
isolation,
it.
he
Don't
pulled
bounce
us
your
out of
head,
his
nod at me. You don't. It doesn't make me believe you more.
It's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand.
Okay, does he go to
What it
Russia
means
or
to be
peace in the Middle
honest.
East here?
Russia.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President, did somebody give you a chance to respond?
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem,
Nope, Middle East.
capital of the state of Israel.
He took the high road. Darn
When
it.
Joe Biden was vice president, he promised to do that.
Where's Donald Trump? Clown.
Strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia Pacific, and we've stood strong.
Nicole
against
on
those
our
who would
YouTube
do us
channel says,
harm.
Annie, you're making
You know,
the same
when
face as I
President
am,
Trump
except I'm
came
worried
into
my mother is going to punch our
ISIS
TV every
captured
time
the
it
Syria
speaks. Mom, don't
rules
punch the
size
TV. It's not worth it. Just
of President
have some
Trump.
stumpies.
Our
Not
leadership
worth
of the American military and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader al-Baghdadi without one American casualty.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Al-Baghdadi was,
It's crazy how many
responsible
accomplishments that this
for the
administration
death
has
of
had and how many of them Trump did not talk about.
Yeah.
And notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, the parents of which are here with us tonight in
Yeah.
Salt Lake City. Today, 2 of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice.
You
in the
guys
United
comment
States.
here and tell us who you
Behind
think
John
is
was
winning
killed
this
on the
debate.
battlefield along with
Give us a
Kayla.
score.
Beat
There are
it.
10 points on the table so
Reality
far.
is that
What's the score?
when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. Breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
But we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. And the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
terrorism. President Donald Trump got us out of the
Thank you,
deal.
Vice President.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to
Vice
harm
President.
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President.
And America is safer. Our allies are safer. And the American people know President Donald Trump will never have
Thank you, Vice President.
to take action.
I
do
would like
wish
to
he would
give
end it a
Senator
little quicker.
Yeah, I do
Harris
too.
a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
I think you are getting equal
First of
time.
all, to the Mueller family, I
I
know
need to
about
time
your
this.
daughter's case.
Yeah, I wish
sorry.
he'd just a little bit
I'm
quicker
so
on the end.
sorry.
Yeah, just wrap it up.
What happened
Make the
to her
point. Good
is awful. And it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So
Okay.
after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving
Getting
in our
text messages
military
from
as suckers and losers.
Female friends of mine that I won't
Donald
name. That's
Trump,
like everything
who
she
went
says
to
pisses me
Arlington
off.
Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because of course, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald
With all
Trump
due
says
respect, the American people knew what he said about John
deserves to be
McCain
called
before they
hero
elected him the
because
first
he was
time.
a prisoner
Yeah, that's not
of
going to go anywhere.
war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander in chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting.
Matt
that
Stirrup
Russia
on
has
Facebook says,
bounties on
when I
their
asked who's
heads
winning, he said for head bobbing
of
Kamala,
American
for being smart,
soldiers.
Pence.
And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that. Joe Biden would, but Joe Biden would hold Russia to account for any threats to our nation's security or to our troops who are
I definitely get that
sacrificing
sense when I think
their
about Joe
lives for the
Biden
sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an
Russian
important issue, but we have other important
intelligence
issues as well.
threats.
I want to make sure we have a chance
To account. Like that's his passion issue.
15 seconds.
That's what they always say about you.
Yeah.
All right, we are going
I'm
to,
sorry, Vice President, but you've had more time than she's had so far.
we're going to time the next 2 questions.
Regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My son
President
is
Pence.
a captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and
Camera.
daughters serving in our
He's
military,
looking at us again.
President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
Thank
Let me
you,
also
Vice
say
President
that
Pence.
the
Vice
American
President
people
Pence,
deserve,
Vice
Susan, the
President
American people
I
deserve
didn't,
to know.
Vice President Pence, I did not create the rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your campaign agreed to the rules for tonight's debate
Oh.
with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you.
Yeah,
which is what
don't
I'm
do what
trying
Trump did.
very hard to
Pence,
do.
you're doing good.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next
You know
topic,
what?
which
If
is
there's
an
any
important one, as the last
Subject
topic
to
was, and that
interrupt
is the
and
Supreme Court.
That's a good one.
bullshit
That's a
about,
good one.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
On Monday, the Senate
Anyway.
Judiciary
Yeah.
Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion
Ooh, here we
would
go.
then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And she's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others,
Boom!
we don't see a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. And the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees, you actually attacked because they were
He
a member
hasn't
of the
said
Catholic
anything
Knights
about
of Columbus.
abortion.
Just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views. And
Thank you.
views.
Thank you,
2
Vice
minutes.
President.
So
Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place, that
Thank you, Vice President.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
with the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California. So let
212.
me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion?
Let's hear it.
And you have
Let's hear
2
it.
minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith. And it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith.
You
And
have.
Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as president of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public
I thought she was going to stand up. That would have been awesome.
That would have been pretty sweet.
When over 210,000 people have died,
So that Pence would look at her like this.
7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it bears repeating. This means that there will be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions.
That is a lie. That's a false.
This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26,
again, they're peddling in fear, folks. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be scared into voting for them. That's a scary proposition in and of itself.
We're over 2 minutes.
Biden is saying, let's expand
They didn't say,
coverage.
she didn't say anything to her at 2 minutes.
Coverage. Let's bring down premiums. Let's lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true leadership.
You know,
212 to
you
223 on that one.
Earlier, Vice President Pence said the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions.
Maybe she gave her more
But
time.
you
than
have
she
this
thought.
court
Pence
case
had
that you
more
are
time than
supporting, your
Maybe,
administration
maybe.
supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. But the president says, President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not
God,
explained
Susan Page,
how
her
would
stock is
do
gonna
that.
go way
and
up.
that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care
Is
Act.
the
So
dog out?
tell us specifically, how would your
Do you
administration
hear that?
protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it.
Amen.
And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth.
Passed.
Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris.
He's leaning in.
Oh, here we
Are you
go.
and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed?
Now just stop and look
I mean,
at
there
her.
have been 21
I'll give her the rest of my
vacancies
time.
on the Supreme Court during presidential election years from George Washington to Barack Obama.
Wouldn't that be something?
Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, You're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed with the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864,
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President,
Still your-
I'm speaking.
No, it's not your friggin' time.
In 1864,
Oh, I hate the Snydery. Is that a word?
big political heroes, certainly the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham
Oh my
Lincoln
God, Katie.
was up for
Yeah,
re-election.
I can't handle this.
And it was 27
You know what's good though?
days
Mike
before the
Pence
election.
is just totally unfazed.
And a seat became open on the United
That
States.
makes me happy.
Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge, not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said
Who was the
Not the right thing to do.
Republican?
the American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court.
So you're still
of the United
butthurt that they
And so
approved
Joe and I are
or
very
nominated
the American
Amy Coney Barrett.
people are
You're
voting
not going to
right
answer the
now.
question.
And it should be
Oh, hit her,
their
hit her, hit her.
decision
Come on.
about who will serve on this most important body.
Because
for
it's
a
too late.
lifetime.
It's already happening. And
Thank
you are going to be on that
Senator
panel.
Harris,
People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about
You
packing.
once
Come on,
again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme
Yeah, make her
Court
deny it.
if they somehow win this election.
Mike Pence,
Men and women, I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers with 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court now.
No,
Let's
that's what.
talk about the
Please.
pack. Yeah, so the Trump-Pence
Been asking you.
administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed
Oh my gosh, you
the
guys.
appointments, for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by
It's still not an
legal
answer. It's still not going to be an answer, is it?
organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing the
Racist.
court? Let's have it.
She loses the thing,
all right,
and
thank
then they
you.
go to
Thank you,
racism.
Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
Mike Pence looks like I did not see that coming, and I should have.
What
But the American
just
people, in the
happened?
next debate, Joe Biden will answer the
Thank
question,
you,
but I think
thank
the
you.
American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice President.
Your drinks back
In
there, my
March,
flipping
Breonna
drinks.
Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers
How's my hair,
executed a
guys?
search warrant on a
Clean,
narcotics
that's all I can tell
investigation
you.
broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said
I just
he
want
was
you to know,
willing do
Annie,
that.
this vice
He used a
president
gun
will
registered
never
to
sniff
him
your
to
hair.
fire a shot, which wounded an
But it
officer.
smells so good. I just
The
it's so
officers
fresh
then
and
fired more
clean.
than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None of them have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice
Uh-oh.
done? You have 2 minutes.
Uh-oh.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Brianna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family deserves justice.
How does it
She's a
smell,
beautiful
Joe?
woman.
It's nice and clean.
She had, as her
Wait,
life
this is
goal
really
to
head-
learn, she
head and
wanted to
shoulders and
learn
Tresemme.
first learn
Only the
what's
finest.
going on out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it just it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America
Just keep him
witnessed,
nearby just in case we need him.
during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer.
Did you guys hear Derek Chauvin was out today?
Yeah,
And people
it was
around our country,
Million bones.
Yeah.
every
Wild.
race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to
She forgot
finally
to
see
say
that idea
every
of peaceful
political
justice
party.
under law.
Because there's a lot of
And I
people
was
on
a
both
part of
aisles
those
that
peaceful protests.
protest.
And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and we will decriminalize marijuana, and we will expunge the records of those who have been convicted of marijuana. This is time for leadership on a tragic issue
Senator Harris,
of unarmed Black people in America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Yes.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of innocent.
Megyn Kelly
innocent
tweeted,
American
"Take it
life.
like a woman. Don't make
Family of
faces."
Breonna Taylor has our sympathy.
Yeah, girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I trust our justice system.
This.
A grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable. that as a
Everyone, and
former
people were saying that
prosecutor,
she was super slanted. I
you
think
would
she's doing,
assume
the
that
moderator's doing a
panel
pretty
grand
decent
jury
job
looking
too.
at
But
all
it's
the evidence
comparative.
are
It's
wrong.
like compared to what? Chris
And the
Wallace?
integrity of
Well,
opinion. So, I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. Justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult.
Oh, the fly's on his head. Oh no!
Oh
Oh no! And it's not moving.
It's stuck.
Oh no!
It's like the flypaper.
This is the moment. This is it. Now everybody's talking about this.
Oh no, someone say something.
That's a Democratic plant fly.
Republicans and Democrats. Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room, and then you filibustered Senator.
She's not going to look at anything but a fly.
No, she's thinking, that's right, fly.
But we don't have
You
to
sit there and
choose
distract
between
from
supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting.
Cheryl,
no, it's so long.
Cheryl says he's so fly.
Someone tell
Lisa
him.
said, "It's a fly."
That fly is not moving, and his head's moving.
James says, "Fly on his hair doesn't flinch."
And also tell him.
Dude, I think that fly died there.
Choice for all of them.
Thank you very much. Senator Harris.
I will
Someone's-
not sit here and be
Take the
lectured
camera
by
off
Vice
of him
President
and tell him.
on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one in the state who was personally prosecuted. Everything from child sexual assault. to-
Oh my God.
I'm the only one on the stage who was prosecuted the big banks for taking
No.
advantage of America's homeowners.
What are the
I'm the only
odds?
person
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Then it would lay eggs there. I mean, it made a home.
it's a drone.
And the
It's a
reality
Democrat
of this
drone.
is that we are talking
Dude,
about an election.
I've never seen a
Did
fly
the-
stay in one spot that long.
Jane says, "Did the fly have a COVID
The
test?"
debate stage in front of 70 million Americans. And
Chris says,
refuse
"Pence
to
is your fly
condemn
pimp
white
daddy."
supremacists.
Kevin says on YouTube, "What's worse, the fly or Kamala Harris?"
Okay, we've just proved that he's not wearing a wire
He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he
because
said,
nobody's talking in his ear.
Stand back. Stand by.
I just
Why is it of a pattern?
I can't believe this.
He was
McFly.
Oh, he left.
Yay! fly.
Emotional man. He, on the issue of
It's
China,
gonna come back. You know it
where
is.
people were peacefully
Aren't they attracted to the
protesting.
light? His white hair is probably the brightest thing in
Oh
there.
my gosh.
Where a young woman was killed. And on the other side, there were neo-Nazis carrying peace torches, shouting racial
Kevin says it's like that rally squirrel.
anti-Semitic slurs.
It's the rally fly.
And Donald Trump
Oh my god, I'm so relieved it left. I don't know if I would be so uncomfortable the rest of the time.
It's gonna come back, you guys, and it's gonna be twice
No,
as
there's gonna
stressful.
there's gonna be bigger bugs every time. Like the next one's gonna be like a mosquito and then a mosquito hawk.
And a cicada.
And then a cicada. And then one of those like Caribbean beetles.
Rally fly
Vice President, can somebody give you a minute to respond?
Thank you,
to get the
Susan.
bugs.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it very much.
Vice President Pence, there's a flyer in
You
you.
know, I
There we
think that's
go.
one of the things that
2 minutes.
makes people dislike the media so much.
Can't wait to look at Twitter.
Yeah.
Is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did,
Is that a fly?
comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently admitted after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects
It's the
and
record.
cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record.
Oh, here we go.
But I really need to make this point. When
She's
you
like,
were,
no,
when you were
don't look
DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than
She's
whites
shaking her
and
head no,
Hispanics.
like it's not true.
When you were Attorney General of California,
Thank you,
you
Rich.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did
Susan,
nothing
shut up.
on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass the First Step Back on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself. President Trump and I have
Okay,
fought
you can close
for
now.
criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice
We
President.
fought for educational choice.
You
and
know, she
opportunities for
speaks up
African
on, she
Americans
steps
all
on
over
every
the
one of his
country,
points.
and we'll do it for full.
Thank you.
It takes
You know,
away
there's
the
no more important issue
sound
than the final
bite
issue that
ability
we're
of
gonna
them.
talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election
But
itself.
he attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're running out of
I
time.
appreciate that. First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do.
Yeah,
And we
ask
will be able to
African American
do
people around
under
this country
a
about that
Joe Biden
because they
presidency.
don't like you.
Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only
What, incarcerate more black
instituting a
people
ban
because Trump
on
has
so-called
passed the
fraud
First Step Back
votes,
and
not only-
released many of them?
I would like to go through,
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the.
Boom,
election
get her out of
but
here.
I want to talk about.
Send in the
difference
fly.
between-
Wouldn't it be awesome if, what's his name? Who's the fly?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I was thinking Norm. If Jeff Goldblum like just strolled in the background casually.
Or Jeff, they cut to
Send
Kamala and they
in
cut back to
flies.
Mike Pence and Jeff Goldblum is on his head.
Just sitting there. A mini Jeff Goldblum.
Does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe.
Oh my god, I'm so happy about that fly.
Instituting reforms
I'm glad it's
that were
gone.
about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our
Gosh,
communities
she's so
safe
defensive.
and a
It's
commitment to
amazing.
reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I'd like to pose I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself.
I will say this.
President
Thank you
Trump
for
has several
tuning
times
in
refused to
because
commit
there's more
himself
people.
To a peaceful
As we go.
transfer of
222.
power
Yeah, that's
after
awesome.
the election. If your ticket wins,
We will
And
do some
President
follow up
Trump
on here
refuses
too.
to
So
accept
stick around
a
and make sure you
peaceful
go over to the
transfer of
YouTube channel,
power,
the Any Fry YouTube
what
channel to watch.
steps would you and Vice
And we
President
will
Biden
recap a little
what would
bit.
happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans.
Either
In
somebody
fact,
coughed
7
or
members
there is going to
of
be a horse.
President George
on
W.
Pence.
Bush's campaign supporting us.
Somebody coughed.
Because I heard
They're being
something.
drug out by COVID security right now.
Sadie McCain, John Kasich, over 500 generals.
Yes,
retired
please remind
generals
all of
and-
the
and
people who
former
call
national
themselves
security
Republicans that
experts and
Kasich supports
advisors
you.
are
That can
going
only
for
help Trump.
And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment
Telling you.
to fight crime
We just wait.
and to fight for
He
the
was like,
integrity
no, hold
of
on.
our democracy and to bring
SNL
freedom
has
back
to do a
life.
fly skit, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
And I hope,
I wonder if it will have Jeff
Jeff
Goldblum
Goldblum.
in it.
I hope that Mike Pence too just laughs and has a good time with that moment.
SNL, if you're watching,
Yeah.
if, you know, maybe
Of the 221 people watching right now,
we will not.
maybe one's what's his name, Mike Warren Michaels.
We're not holding copyright to that. Use it. You can have it.
Just send us another round of Stumpies because we're running low.
That's fine. Or we'll just go to Stumpy's.
Stumpy's whiskey,
Our own.
folks.
We'll say you bought it.
We will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing. As he did on the last
I am fascinated by your reaction to her because I wonder if.
he
I mean, my
openly
reaction is that she seems a little bit
attempted to
snooty
suppress
about
the
everything.
vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump
I
doesn't
think she's
he can
the
run on record
worst.
because it's
And
a
I
debate
said
record.
that the day
Joe
before
Biden
the
on that
announcement was
stage
made,
said, "Hey,
that she drives me up a wall. I
So
don't
all
like
the
her.
people
She's
just say,
disingenuous.
please vote."
She's
Senator-
condescending.
Senator, Vice President Pence,
She's fake.
President Trump
She's
has several
phony.
times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election.
Oh, this is a
If
softball.
Vice President
Yeah.
Biden is declared the winner and
That's
President
fine.
Trump
Give him a
refuses to
softball.
accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you?
Also, give
Personally,
Pence the platform for the next 3 weeks because
Well, Susan, first and
He
foremost, I
deserves
think
it.
we're going to win this election.
Jean says
Because
Stumpy's
while
is right down the road from
Joe
your house.
Biden
I hope you're
and
going
Kamala
there
Harris
because they have
got along
sweet
with
stuff. I wore my Stumpy shirt today
establishment
to
in Washington, D.C., and
Charlie's
establishment
surgery.
Joe Biden's
and
been
somebody,
part
I'll
of
tell you about that.
47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life.
is this the end here?
And
We're getting there.
I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military. We revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair
Defend
trade,
Western civilization as we
American
know it.
energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law.
Sorry,
enforcement
Barb.
recently.
It's better than
I
last
think-
week when I
I
yelled,
think that movement of
"Shut
Americans
up,
is
Chris
something
Wallace,
that's-
let him talk."
When we talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election.
Oh,
It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign.
It's true.
I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. Of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the
God,
election.
he's so good.
Let me
dude.
just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that will create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. We have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to.
Barbara, my son's doing
read
great.
a
It
question
went
that someone
perfectly.
else wrote.
Everything was good. Thank
The
you for
Utah
asking.
Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville
In
Junior
the
High.
in the
Springville,
freezer
Utah.
at the bottom left.
Here's what she wrote.
It's in a metal. Yeah.
When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see
An 8th
is
grader?
citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down.
You believe in eighth grader
If
wrote
our
this?
leaders can't get along,
It's tugging
how
at
are the
Katie's
citizens
heartstrings.
supposed to get along? And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together."
Oh, they're bobbing their head in unison.
I hope someone, because that's how everybody's feeling.
Kamala, go first.
Vice President.
Dang it.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question.
Eye contact.
And,
He's looking at you,
I
Brecklin.
just commend you for taking an interest in public life.
Yeah, because nobody's doing that these days.
I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate.
So far.
And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. And I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late
Scalia.
justice who we just lost in the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States. One very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her
Jerry Baker
passing
says
is
on
the two of
Facebook, I'm
them
voting for the
ended
fly.
Oh, Jerry.
Sue Lynn says fly 2024.
I'm
Guys,
ready to fly.
disagree. We
You're
can
throwing your vote away
debate
on a third party.
Sue Lynn says Prince fly 2024, but I think she said Pence fly, so we'll have to wait and see. I've got bad news for you, Sue Lynn.
That's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. The American people.
Brooklyn
each
is watching
and
this right
every
now.
day,
Don't
Brecklin.
love a good debate. We love a good argument.
Half my gosh.
Have always come together and are always.
Wouldn't it have been awesome if we have a question from Ryan Wiggins?
You do? Because I didn't write anything.
Senator Harris,
Think on the
what would you
spot
say
and
to
go.
Yeah. We're cutting to you live on the stream.
First of all, I love to hear.
Whose lie was that?
And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin.
If you were a sandwich, which sandwich would you be?
Because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that
He's
Joe
a
decided to run
Historic relic in
is
government.
after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier.
Uh-oh.
It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. I mean, you have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice.
Listen, Joe
You're
Biden
their
has seen
vote,
fire and he's seen
and we get
rain.
engaged in this election because you have
He's
the
seen
ability
sunny days that he
through
thought
your
would
work
never end.
and through eventually your vote
Thank you
to determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you,
I think
Senator
Mike
Harris.
Pence
Thank you,
won
Vice
that
President Pence.
closing.
Thank you so much for being
Yeah.
with us tonight. We want to thank also
His is much more
the
about
University of
unity rather
Utah
than
for its
getting a vote.
hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate tonight. Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19.
I'm a fan of hers. I
The
don't care if
second
she's writing Nancy
presidential
Pelosi's
debate
biography.
is next week on October
that's
15th,
true.
a town hall style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
Chris Wallace, suck it.
I mean, her stuff went way up. She did a great job.
I'm happy. Okay, folks. Let's see here.
They tell each other thank you.
So here's what I want you to do. Go over and subscribe to the Annie Fry YouTube page, if you will. You can stream us both on Facebook, Periscope, or Twitter at Annie Fry Show as well. But we are working to build the YouTube channel right now for the show. We've got the Facebook up is getting close to 14,000 likes, and we've got about 1,400 subscriptions on YouTube. We're going to be doing some lifestyle stuff on the YouTube channel eventually, and also There's been some censorship, not necessarily on our page as much, but I know the Mark Cox page has gotten hit with some things before. So we're trying to make sure that if we go down on one side, that we have another one. And when you go to the YouTube page and you watch us there and you subscribe, you can give us the thumbs up on the video, because the thumbs up really helps us with the ability for us to potentially monetize the channel down the line, because YouTube basically puts us out there as limited availability to monetize, I guess, because we talk about politics or something. So they're kind of holding us back there as well. But I just want to encourage you to go to the Annie Fry YouTube page, subscribe, and please, please, please hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube live that we have right now. And that really, really, really helps us. That's something you can do. It doesn't cost you anything. And it's easy. Pam, thank you. Pam. Super chat from Pam, $15. Can't wait to join you again for the next town hall debate. There's a great question, Pam. Thank you very much. You guys think the debate's going to happen? What do you guys think?
You know, that was my first. Whenever Trump got COVID, I was
I
like,
thought the same thing.
man, is he
Is it
going to
gonna
be able to
happen?
debate? And that's stupid.
Doesn't it have to happen? Is there a
It's got to
universe where
happen.
Trump doesn't come back from COVID and be like, so I've seen a few things since
It's
then?
got to happen.
You remember when Johnny Cash goes to the prison in Walk the Line? That's the historical context I have to this. And he's like, the warden here says I got to drink this water. And then he says, this water looks like, and then he throws it down, and then he starts playing Folsom Prison Blues, right? I shot a man in Reno. What is that? What it is? I shot a man in
I mean,
Reno.
that's
Just
if he's in the prison,
watch
he plays
him
Folsom
die.
Blues.
Oh, well, no, I was dressed in black. What is the song? What's that song that Johnny Cash sings? Anyway, the whole point is that he overcomes this arc of stuff, and then he comes to the prison and he sings to the prisoners, because nobody else wants to talk to the prisoners. Nobody else wants to pay attention to him, but he does, because he thinks that they have value. And everybody around him is like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to record this album there. He's like, no, I'm going to speak to these people. And he does. And it became one of his most successful albums ever. The president has now seen some things. The president has now experienced something that nobody else on this stage has experienced. So nobody gets to preach to him about what COVID is, because he has had COVID. Is that an asset? It is, if he uses it that way.
Yeah.
And if he gets to come back and he gets to say, I know this virus is serious. I never said it was a hoax, but I never had it previous to this. And I know from firsthand experience how serious this virus is, and how serious we have to take it, and how serious we need to continue to protect our country in the process, because we cannot live in fear. We have to beat it. We can't run from it. And that's why I'm going to lead you past it. I mean, that's the biggest. I think that's huge.
Oh yeah, that is like well, and also he can talk about like the drug prices and everything that go into whenever you have COVID, the availability in the hospitals, how he's going to fight to make it available with some of the things that he used to recover and become better. I just think I hate to sound this crass, but like him overcoming COVID is a big win for the president, especially for the debate.
If he can handle it.
If he can handle
It's
it.
a big win for I've been saying this for a couple of days, although I had some technical problems the last couple of days. I don't know how well it came
Maybe you
through.
heard me.
Yesterday,
But,
his machine that puts him on the air went out at 12:03. From
Yeah.
what I understand.
Yeah, it was great
Legit
timing.
talking to each other up until
Well,
the end of the
hey,
show.
we're on the air and I'm not. But I really think this is his opportunity. He's been doing it a little bit. I don't know that he's going to stay on message because he's Donald Trump, but to focus on economy, reopen America. I think that's his message for the next 3 weeks, right into November 3rd. And I think it crosses the finish line for him. And he's got to do it. I know he's watching this. He's watching this. We're all watching this. He just watched his vice president kind of lead the way.
Tell him
for
how to go. Tell him how to
And-
do it.
And Donald Trump's sitting here going, oh yeah, all these points, that he could be making. And he's going to school himself from his own vice president, and I think come out in this next debate much, much stronger.
So I want to give another thank you to Pam, who sent us a $15 super chat on YouTube. And I will tell you that right now we are. How much money are we making to be here right now? None.
I got this free
Big ol'
drink right here.
You guys got
Yeah.
free booze. Cocaine Blues. That's what it is.
That's the name of that song? Really?
That doesn't sound familiar. So anyway, I was gonna say we get together and we do this. This is extra, but this is stuff all three of us would be watching this obviously anyway, and so would you guys. So this is a fun way for us to come to you. And the YouTube channel we are going to build to be able to do more things like this that may eventually not have anything even to do with politics. Just fun ways for us to hang out with you, but especially these really, really big events. So Pam, thank you for the $15 sent to on the super chat to the YouTube channel. It goes a long way. It helps us expand what we're doing, and we're appreciative of you, Pam. Very grateful. So, okay, let's talk about the debate tonight. And I want to hear what your comments are as well. Kevin says, if Ryan one hand claps again, you might get more super chats. So I'm willing to go ahead. Go.
Okay, ready?
No. Go.
Also, I'm gonna chew in her ear.
No.
Hey,
No.
grape.
No. No, an apple would be. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just hurt myself. Oh, okay. He did it. He does tricks, and I did hurt myself. Last time, at this point, I had a Charlie horse. What is up?
This time you got an Andy neck.
I feel like I have a Charlie horse. Remember last night where I said hold my neck right here? I think I have a. Can you get a Charlie horse in your neck? I think I have one. Oh gosh, I got a Charlie horse from his hand.
Who do you guys think won the debate tonight?
That's what we need to know. So I want to say there, like I said before, there are 10 points on the table to be won. What is the score tonight? Pence, Harris. Who gets how many points? Comment them here on the YouTube channel, the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll put your comments up here and we will discuss as well. Golly. Oh my God, it hurts.
You legitimately hurt yourself.
No, I really did. All right. Pence, Harris, Katie, 10 points on the table. Who gets how many? Ooh, Kevin Dressel gave us $5 for that. Thank you.
Yay!
It's worth $5.
It's worth
Yay,
$5.
Kevin. Yay, for
Stop!
you.
I already hurt myself. $5 for that weirdness.
I would say,
Just think if we actually had talent.
I know that Harris has an annoying voice, and I know that she was throwing the shade and throwing the sass a lot of the time. But all in all, if I were to put myself in a liberal or a Democrat,
If you were a
view,
Kamala fan,
I would say that she represented, that she did what she was supposed to do tonight, because she did bring that sass, which is what people were looking for. I would say I would give Pence 7 and Kamala 3.
a decisive win.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
7 and 3.
Of course you were.
I was. Really, I was going to say whatever Katie said because I think Katie is a
Because I'm smart.
neat person.
I have 0 tricks up my
That's
sleeve.
got to be.
Armpit gun.
Is somebody crying? Are you watching a video? What are you doing?
I'm trying to do armpit gun.
I'm losing
She was doing
control.
it, and I think she's so neat.
I'm losing control. I've got a Charlie horse in my neck, and I got $5 on my YouTube channel super
Yay,
chat from
$5
Kevin
for a
Dressel.
broken neck.
Man, things are starting to get a little low here.
I feel like we thought that Harris deflected a lot, but I was looking at my Facebook feed and a lot of people that are super Biden Harris ticket thought that Pence deflected a lot.
Folsom Prison Blues?
Cocaine blues.
Cocaine Blues.
The one that he said,
Yeah.
I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, that's
I
Folsom
shot a
Prison.
Yes,
man.
but that's not the song
But
that
that's not the
I
song.
That he
hear the
opened up
train
with, yeah.
coming.
That's Folsom Prison.
That's not the
Coming
song
round the
he's singing.
bend.
Yeah.
I ain't seeing the sunshine. Oh, that's something we could do sometime for a sing.
Yeah, totally.
Play guitar and
We
sing.
could do for a sing.
What do you do? What talent can you contribute to the concert,
He can
Ryan?
play the straw.
His hands.
He
He can applaud
I
one
won't do
more
that.
I can play 2 triangles at once.
The symbols.
All right, we're getting comments here. 9-1 Pence. Carlos says Senator Harris gets one for showing up. Barb says Pence all the way 10-0. Also, especially want to hear from women. How did you feel about Kamala's performance? Did you think that she did a good job? Did her presentation frustrate you at all? And what do you think about Pence too? What?
Donna?
Brazil.
What? Who?
I think Karl Rove said something and set Donna Brazil off, and she looked really angry.
Donna Brazil just told Karl Rove that Kamala Harris wasn't going to marry him.
Yeah, I don't know
Man,
what the
need to see the beginning of that conversation. Jean says Pence 8, Harris 2. Susie says 10 points to Pence, 0 to Harris, and negative points for audacity and smugness. Pence and the Fly 9, Harris 1, Vicky says.
Dude, what's the Fly gonna do? Here's a prediction. Here's a good prediction for the Fly.
Can you follow the Fly on Twitter yet?
If people grab the whole Fly moment and they're like, look at how long this Fly stays on Pence.
Then they'll hear everything.
They'll
that
hear
Pence
everything
says.
he says.
Maybe it
And
was a
during criminal justice stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that the Fly was a net win.
it was a Russian Fly.
Beelzebub, you lost on that one.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Impeach the Fly. Barb says snarky and smug. I'm assuming that you mean about Kamala. Doug says Kamala Harris kept spouting debunked talking points and smears.
I don't think people are giving Kamala Harris enough credit. I don't think she did bad.
No.
I just don't think she won.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's going to be.
I think she was outmatched.
I do too.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like she did well for her, but Mike Pence is so smooth and
Yeah.
good at what he was doing. And I mean, to the extent that we were saying during the debate too, like, can we send Mike Pence to the next one to debate Joe
Yeah.
Biden, because he offers something in such stark contrast. He offers. This is the thing. I said this. I don't know that I said it in the post debate show that we did here online last week. And by the way, we will do this again next week, assuming that Trump shows up to it. So follow us on YouTube and make sure you subscribe there. That they didn't talk at all about the American people. They didn't talk about you and me. They talked about themselves
Yeah,
and about each other. And all of this government stuff, this is the United States of America. It's about us. It isn't about them. And this debate here today, on both sides, was much more about policy and about the American people, because they were actually able to talk and get points across. And again, I think that the moderator did a pretty good job. So Resmi says, are we going to talk about that Fly? Does the Fly have an impact on this debate? Like, does the Fly, real talk, does the Fly, does it matter?
Yes.
Does it help anybody? Does it hurt anybody?
Yes. It helped. Well, I mean, people are going to take shots at Pence. Like, there's going to be memes. And stuff, right?
The Trump campaign within the next 15 minutes needs to have a parody video out about the Fly. They need to own it. They need to make it their own and make the joke first.
Yes.
What
Right?
if you are Pence's people after this debate and you huddle around him and they're like, and he's like, so how did I do? Just someone say, like,
Look,
there was a fly on your head
Here's
for a long
politically
time.
what's going to happen.
Kevin,
from that.
thank you so much for the
Thanks,
$5
Kevin.
super chat on
Thank you,
YouTube.
Kevin.
That was awesome.
There's going to be a
Appreciate it.
whole lot of people who did not watch this debate, or they saw that it was happening and they saw 2 minutes of it and nothing. They will tomorrow hear about the Fly.
Yeah.
They'll hear about the Fly.
So they'll tune in and see
So
it.
they'll go to see the clip of the Fly, and they'll get to see a little bit of him talking. and
It
it's
would
a win.
suck if Kamala was making a huge point, an amazing point, and
Yeah.
the Fly did highlight that. Thomas, thank you so much.
Thank
$5
you.
super chat. Kamala Harris was talking through her nose and down her nose at us. I really don't think that the condescending tone of Kamala, which is what I have always disliked about her, and there's a real thing that exists, and I know this because I'm a woman in media, where women, especially with radio, Ryan, you've heard this probably before. Have you heard it? Where women don't like women? Women don't like listening to women. Women are
I've
much.
heard that they're much harsher critics.
Women
Yeah.
get real bent out
Yeah.
of shape and find things that, like, and I know that I'm certain that I am doing those things on the air that agitate you, and that if a man were doing those same things, it wouldn't get under your skin as much. So I'm super conscious of that, and I want to give her all the objectivity in the world. But if I'm talking to somebody and they've got their eyebrows furrowed and they're bobbing their head at me like, you're going to believe what I'm saying, and I am telling you that you're going to believe what, like, I don't like that.
I'm ending the conversation.
Yeah, I'm not good with that. And I don't want to sit there and have you beat it into my stupid thick skull. I don't need that. And I feel like she is super, super, super condescending in her tone. So Thomas, I definitely agree with you. And thank you so much for the $5 super chat on YouTube. We really appreciate it.
I don't know if it's a woman thing or not, because I can't
How do you
be
feel?
unobjective about that, but I do not like it when people are like, look, I'm about to drop some sass bombs on you, which is what she does.
Yeah, it's true. Matthew here says, this house thought they both deflected on the age of the president question, but then Kamala deflected on almost every other issue. I see a lot of people frustrated that there was a lot of deflection, but I will say, comparatively to last week, my gosh, you got a better picture of what each administration is going to stand for. Out
You
of
know
this.
what that was is what politics used to be like, which some of that's nice because it's a little bit calmer, get to kind of judge it. But we all know Donald Trump has disrupted everything, and part of that is our traditional understanding of the way politicians behave, and part of that's really good.
Yeah. Thomas, thank you again so much. We really appreciate it. It definitely goes a long way. We appreciate the $5 on YouTube. What's Frank saying here? Can we get him on the show?
Sure.
Frank wants. This is how this works. It's 9:49, 9:50,
Yeah.
and I go, "Hey, Katie, can you get Donald Trump on the show?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll get Donald Trump on the show."
Why not? With an email.
Jackie,
Honestly,
hold on, Jackie. YouTube super chat. I didn't listen to it. Now I wish I had. Unfortunately, I chose the moment that hurts your shoulder. That's his fault.
Jackie.
Keep bringing the lives. We love doing the lives, and we're going to keep doing these, especially after the debate goes. Because what we want to do is we want to build something with you guys. Like, obviously, the election's a really super big deal, but the election's going to be over in November. We're still going to try to do things, and chances are down the road it might involve Katie's puppy or maybe Ryan's family can come over and stuff too. We can watch a movie together or something, and we'll involve you in those each time. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and hit the thumbs up button to tell YouTube that you think that what we're doing here is valuable, because they don't believe us off the bat. What were you gonna say, Ryan?
Question for you, live question.
Oh boy,
Sure.
is this about our marriage?
Yes.
Shh, love.
It's a highly personal question. It has nothing to do with what we've been talking about, but I didn't even mean to ask you. No.
Okay, I'm like,
no, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I'm
Are you
just kidding.
who are you asking?
I'm asking Katie. Have you actually put in a request for Donald Trump or Mike Pence to come on the show?
Yeah, Donald Trump for sure.
Really?
Yes.
And no response.
No.
I've contact with the White
She
House.
has a really good relationship with the White House.
Okay.
But I mean, they're like, thank you for thank you for asking, but that's not going to happen.
Do you think they would respond differently if we were in Wisconsin? Can you lie and tell them we're in Wisconsin?
I don't think they would.
Missouri matters. I wonder how much, like, when I hear people talking about how, like, the ground game in states, I was listening to something today about Pennsylvania and how strong the ground game is. I'm like, why is nobody coming and asking me to, like not from a radio show host, but in Illinois, why is nobody coming here and being like, we need your help with the ground game? And I'm like, oh, I live in Illinois, that's why, which sucks. I wish it was competitive here. I wish that it wasn't such a shoo-in.
We've had a Republican senator before, so let's see if Mark Curran. Yeah, I know.
Kirk.
Mark.
Oh, Curran. Mark Kirk was the.
Kirk and
Yeah.
Curran. So I'm not giving up on Curran yet.
What if Mark Curran beat Dick Durbin?
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
If Mark Curran beats Dick Durbin, then Trump might take Illinois.
That's a good point.
Wow. Do you know, like, that is the show that you're going to need to tune into. If Mark Curran wins that night and Donald Trump takes Illinois, I'm going to be smashed.
And I'm going to be in Disney World.
Yeah.
So I will miss all.
Unbelievable.
Love is every moment of it.
What a stupid idiot I am.
Jackie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat on
Thank
YouTube.
you.
Yay, Jackie.
I think Jackie's one of the fannies, and if
She
she
is.
isn't, then she should be. I'm pretty sure she is. Jackie, we love you. Thank you so much.
I think that might be the smartest thing to do, Ryan.
I know,
Kevin
but-
says, how can I contribute? On YouTube, at the bottom of the chat thing while we're live, there's a little $, and it's really pretty simple, and you do not have to feel obligated to do it whatsoever. But like I said, it's just a way for us to continue to be able to do these things and put a little money back into the time and the equipment that it takes. Like, I've got things set up down here right now to make all this happen and do the show live. So we appreciate it.
When you donate $5, the eggnog moves from generic brand to Prairie Farm.
No, Prairie Farms is what we bought first. Kevin Dill sent $4.99. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank
That's
you.
very kind.
Yay, Prairie Farms.
Very
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely buy local. So, Katie, you're saying you think it's a 7-3 win for Pence, and you think Kamala Harris, if you're a Kamala fan, you think she probably did good for that.
Yeah, that's immediately I got on my phone, got on Facebook to see what everyone's statuses were, and during the debate to see what their statuses were. That's awesome. Oh my
Absolute
God.
vodka, vote first, drink second.
That's amazing. That's a good ad. And just what I was seeing from a bunch of people were that, you know, this was the debate that a lot of people that signed on to vote for Joe Biden were looking forward to. And they got what they wanted. I think that they thought that she was a strong candidate, that she brought information to the table, that she didn't deflect, and that she went up against Mike Pence. And like I said, that sass and that snark and that like, don't mess with me because I'm a woman type of deal is everything that a Kamala Harris fan or voter is looking for.
Yeah.
So they liked that.
Ryan, you said 7-3 just because you thought Katie was smart and you'd plagiarize just like Joe Biden did. So you want to add anything to that?
I just bought a chocolate lab.
Did you name him Marty?
I named him Farty.
Farty.
I named him Farty.
Here's my chocolate lab, Farty. You should smell it. Never mind.
No one to stop, Ryan. No one to stop.
But he did.
Rewind.
Smell his butt.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Kevin, thank you very much for the $4.99. We appreciate it.
This is such a good point that you just made. I almost want to save it for the radio because it's like a discussion that we should have, but why not? Let's just do it.
It's possible to say it both times.
For
For the 180 people who are watching right now, you've got the major scoop on something brilliant about to drop here.
Okay.
Hey, wait! Look at this.
Wait.
TT24 sent us a super sticker, I think it's called. I don't even know. It says you are amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, all
$20.
right. Cool,
Tara,
thanks.
Tara Tina. Thank you so much.
Cool. Hey,
Thank
Tara.
you.
Hi, Tara.
She's a fanny.
Yeah. Hi, Tara. She's an Illinois girl too. Hi.
She is. She's a local girl.
No, this debate.
Did you forget your
forget
brilliant
almost
point?
it.
About the chocolate lab.
This debate
Farty.
really was probably because we know Joe Biden's having trouble with motivation. He's not motivating the base. Kamala Harris is supposed to be the one doing that. The question is, did she accomplish motivating the base tonight? You're saying just by Twitter, you're saying yes. I don't know that she failed, but I don't know that she still provided that big punch to the base because Pence did a good job of attacking her from the left and about the Green New Deal stuff. The
Packing the courts.
The
Packing the courts thing
was a huge
big
one.
deal.
That's
Yeah.
big left motivation stuff, and he didn't let her have it. That's one of the reasons I think he did such a good job.
James, $10 so that you can get more supplies for your whiskey slushies.
Yeah, the
Cheers.
more we drink, the longer this goes.
Look at this. I have urgent care for urgent specialists. Dr. Hardiman, who comes on our show every Monday, is with urgent specialists. He is the very best, and we love him. And I took my son to urgent specialists. Did we fight? Did we finish this fight?
Thursday.
I still don't believe you.
You're gonna finish the
I
fight
took
on
half the day
Thursday.
on Thursday and take him to get his X-rays.
And then you went back Friday?
2 weeks.
So we have a disagreement, and I'm probably wrong, but I don't remember it the way he remembers it. But regardless, we went to urgent specialists. Stop it. And then the reason why we went there, because it was a 50-minute drive from here, where I live on the Illinois side, is because they have specialists that are at the urgent care facility, and they could do the x-ray, they could read the x-ray, they got us all set up. And then we went, stop it. Stop conferring with my people. I'm probably wrong. I know that. I just don't want to admit it right here because
He's not winning this, but he's winning the grassroots.
Yeah. We'll see who comes out in November. So we went there, and then that's where Charlie went with the specialist that they referred to us to have his surgery. Stop with the
Donna Brazil just looked really pissed off.
Yeah,
She is pissed off because I think her girl got smoked. So anyway,
Wow, that's a good point.
yes, we appreciate you both. Oh my gosh, we got more here. So Tara, thank you for the $19.99 super chat on YouTube. James, we're gonna put that into some more whiskey slushes because I am out of the Stumpy's honey, and Ryan, you emptied the lemon drop, right?
Mhm.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. We're just having fun.
Him?
Yeah, a little
Stop
bit.
being an ass! I told you. You're right. I'm wrong. Everybody heard it now. Send me a super chat because now I'm mad at you.
The ground up.
Regardless, we went to urgent specialist. You know how it is.
Take it from the checking account.
Yeah. Jeremy says, I don't think it was a coincidence President Trump contracted COVID-19. There are people who believe that. Have you thought about any of that?
No.
You don't want to.
That's way into the weeds for.
I will. No, I don't think
swim.
so.
We don't swim in
We don't do
conspiracy theories, even when we know that they exist. But Jeremy, thank you for the $10 on the YouTube. Oh, Donna Brazil calling out the fly.
Okay.
Wait.
Her style, her grace, and whether or not she's moving her hands or rolling her eyes.
It's true.
The man is assertive. He's seen as strong. And
Also true.
folks, Kamala Harris, like most women, they just simply want to be judged on their record.
Okay,
Yeah, just
fair,
like
that's
Trump.
fine.
You haven't even asked about Trump's record, so stop that.
Arguably they are, but the question is whether the president is looking at this will recognize the fact that his own vice president did a better job of defending.
Ooh, somebody's packing up the set behind Brit Hume right now. Someone's gonna come wheel Brit Hume right out of the scene. Jeremy, thank you so much. Who else have we got here? James and Tara still with the super chats and the super stickers. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and somebody placed him in sort of like
And
a
I
museum
totally
lobby.
agree with everything that she's saying, and we all understand that women do get judged very critically by everyone whenever
Yes.
they're being observed on television. But the fact of the matter is that Kamala did everything that she did deliberately. They weren't natural things that she was doing. They were all very strategic and deliberate.
Well, here's the other thing too. If you know, like Katie, I'm going to tell you where I'm at on this, and then I want to hear what you think. And Ryan, you can weigh in, but you're not a woman, so don't even worry about it. When you know that you're going to be judged, when you know that maybe the balance is tipped a little bit against you, if that is the reality of the situation, is it fair? No. Do you have to still live in that reality? Yes. And you might have to. I have in my career many times had to work my tail off to rise or to achieve and make it. And sometimes I feel like I had to work harder, but when I worked harder and I earned it, I feel like I had earned the respect of the people around me. And because of that, I almost felt like I had compensated for the deficiency that had happened. If you are somebody like Kamala Harris, who has the head bop thing going and the furrowed brow and the scowl is the word that scowl I don't think was a word I used yet, but it's definitely like Donna Brazil just using that word herself. It's something that she has to be aware of, and she has to try to do something about it, because whether it's fair or not, people will judge her for that, and she needs to be aware of that. I mean, that's just like if Mike Pence is really short. He can't do anything about being short, but it's not like he gets to negate anybody who doesn't like him because they think that tall people are more powerful and confident. Right. That would be an ignorant thought, but if it's the reality, you have to figure out ways to compensate for that. I mean, like, don't you think, like, just because it's not fair. Women,
it's not fair,
aren't playing
on
a fair plane.
Mm-hmm. No, that's totally correct. And I also liken it to, like, if you say a lot, or if you say or if you say like, these are all things that people observe, and they're going to do it if you do it a lot. And it's something that if you have good coaches, that they can reflect back on with you and say, look at this footage and tell me what you see. Are you distracted by all of these things that you're doing to look sassy and to look fierce and to look like a dominant human being, so much so that your point isn't getting across?
Can you guys keep going on this and make some comments here while
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Annie's calling into the radio. So don't tune into the radio.
Be good. Okay, let's see here. Wallet. Oh, let's not do that one. I already just messed
I
it
will
up.
echo your point about women. When I applied at 97.1, they said, "Well, are you a guy?" And I said, "Yeah." And I showed up for my interview with no shirt on just to show,
You're
like,
so-
I'm a guy. Like, this is what we do, right, dudes? And they were like, "You're hired." I didn't even have to. The guy hired me because
I'm a guy, you're a guy.
I'm like, we're a
Let's
couple
be guys,
guys,
I'm
right?
97.1.
Let's just cut past the BS and get my butt in that door. So, I mean, we do have it a little easier, I would say.
I
in
have
that
to say,
regard.
though, at 97.1, I'm the executive producer of the Annie Fry Show. Trisha Seekman is the executive producer of the Mark Cox Morning Show. Rachel Zimmerman, executive producer of the Dave Glover Show. And Annie Fry, of course,
is a host on one of the
And
shows.
Denise Schaefer is the co-host
Yes.
of the Mark Cox Show.
We have a lot of women that are in politics ready to give their opinion and understand the rules of the game and have made it successfully.
I can't believe how many in my career. I don't know how this happens, but I always end up working with almost entirely women.
Yeah.
And it's not by like I haven't attempted to do that.
It's probably because yeah. Yes. Thank God for Jared. And of course, the person who makes this all possible, Becky, who is like the head of Entercom St. Louis. Thank God for Becky, and she's killing it every single day. Jared, thank you. But yeah, she's a powerhouse, and that we're very, very fortunate to have her as a leader at Entercom St. Louis. Thank God for that. I'm sorry, keep going.
Which is actually not common.
It's not common.
As far as
and she's up
having
against a lot of powerful
leadership.
men every day. Yeah.
She's very good at her job. It's hard to keep talking because we're watching some of this coverage just like you are. We're watching coverage and we are
Will you
coverage.
commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of
I want to see it's hard because I want to see every channel's discussion about this simultaneously because obviously Fox is going to have one take. Hannity's on now. You know what he's going to say. I wonder what MSNBC
What they're saying.
and CNN are saying because if the tone, maybe you guys are watching this. Comment if you are. If you're flipping through stations, we're gonna flip over right now. Jared's helping us. If they're really upbeat, I'd be surprised, but maybe they are. We'll see. Do you have MSNBC or CNN especially? I think they would be the best barometer.
And like I said before this, I watched a lot of the pre-coverage of what was going on, the pre-debate coverage. And everyone that I watched on many platforms were speaking highly of Mike Pence and his abilities and how he can debate and how calm he can stay.
We forget it.
So
We forget that he's that good.
I definitely did not know that.
He doesn't get much of the focus. He doesn't attempt to get it either.
Yes, I did not realize.
Line for line, word for word, exactly what I'm sure they prepared to say. If the scientists say it's safe, I'll be the first in line to take it. If Donald Trump says so, I will not. But that's the message. And Pence ignored what she said and continued to accuse her of undermining the science, even though the president just this morning tweeted that he wants a vaccine before the election.
She said
before the election.
BS, the actual word, BS words on CNN. Oh no, it wasn't BS. It was S show.
It worked well for her tonight. Pence
She said S show.
This lady?
Dana Bash.
Oh, really?
After.
It's going great.
After
I
the debate.
am in my basement
Oh.
and I invited Katie over here and Brian Wiggins just showed up also. And you can watch us on the Annie Fry YouTube page right now because they have taken over the YouTube channel while
Now listen,
I am
I'm just going to do
talking
live
my
commentary
voice.
instead of on CNN. I'm going to do live
Having a good
commentary
time.
on what she's saying on the
And,
radio.
Just watching that debate. And I gotta
Watching that
say,
debate.
I am so much more
You know what I mean, you guys?
at peace and calm after this debate than I was the last one.
Peace and calm
I have
after
to
this
say that
debate.
there-
Actually, that's true.
Peace and blessings.
This was a much. That's a narrative that I think you will see over the next day or so until we're not talking about this anymore. That this debate felt like the adults were in the room or whatever the phrase is that they're going to use compared to the other one.
Is that what they're saying right now on CNN?
I don't know that they're saying it. I haven't heard anything that interesting from them yet.
Mike Pence is, to quote President Trump, very effective at
They're-
even coming close to the question.
They're attacking. I mean, of course, like duh, they're attacking Trump. They're just attacking Trump.
And they're saying that Pence didn't answer any questions, which I believe he did answer a lot. Now, did he
He
also?
politicked a little
He
bit.
did.
but
He did take time to reply back to some of Kamala Harris's statements. He took his 2-minute time to say what he needed to say about her last comment and then moved on to the question that was being asked of the moderator.
I tell you what, it must be, and I've seen a couple polls on this. Polls But it's not popular, and they must know that it's not popular to pack the court, because Joe Biden, I guarantee, will be ready for that question in the next debate, because they're going to hit it again. Trump hit him on it in the first debate. Pence nailed Kamala Harris on it in this debate, and kept pushing, and made her try to answer, and she still didn't answer. She came off really poorly in that, and I think it's because their polling shows that that's an unpopular issue, and they don't want to answer the question, knowing that they will do it. Joe will be ready for that question next time.
So you think that both Biden and Trump watched this and was like, okay, I need to.
Trump did. I know Trump did. I mean, Trump watches anything that has to do with Trump.
Him, which is everything.
Which is, I don't know how he avoids it.
Yeah.
But and I'm sure Joe Biden did too. Like, of course. But I don't know that Joe Biden's going to walk away from watching that and say, okay, now I really see what I should do. I do think Trump's going to do that. I think he's going to walk away and say, man, Mike really held his own on issues and pushed when he needed to push. We were saying that we thought Pence should have ended some of his answers a little bit sooner at the 2-minute mark, or within 10 seconds or whatever, because you kind of lose the point when it just feels like it feels uncomfortable. But he did push, and I don't think some of that was bad. But I think as far as debate tactics go, Trump's going to watch that and go, I can do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on social media, Twitter and Facebook, pushing back on Mike Pence, saying that he was interrupting a lot, that he wasn't finishing his sentences, and he was trailing off, and then getting, using 15, 30 more seconds and adding that onto his time to clarify and make his final point. And I get that. I think that, as you just highlighted, Ryan, he did need to wrap up. He did need to get to the point and get to it quickly in order for Kamala to have her answer. But in that same vein, I'm not an expert on debates. I think everybody here already knows I wasn't really watching the debate between Hillary and Trump, unfortunately. I wasn't watching that closely. I didn't watch Tim Kaine and VP Pence. I didn't watch them closely. But aren't you supposed to be kind of pushing back the moderator a little bit? Isn't that part of a debate? You push back the moderator just a little bit so that you can get to the end of your point?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they traditionally always do, is what they did tonight.
It seemed
that was like a classic.
Standard.
Yeah, that was a very classic debate where the moderator will ask a question. This is the way politics used to be. We forget 4 years ago, this is the way they all were. That any interviewer or moderator or whoever would ask a politician a question, and the politician would answer whatever question they wanted to. Donald Trump doesn't do that, and we forgot that that's the way most politicians do it. And it was almost refreshing because we're tired of the constant banter. But I do think Trump can get back to what he does well, which is, he's off the cuff. He's really good off the cuff, but not interrupt so much. And especially with Joe Biden, we're saying the same thing we said after the last debate, but he'll trip himself. And Trump's going to figure that out. And this next watch party is going to be fun.
Do you think that partition and them sitting down aesthetically, did anything to take away from the experience?
Not for a TV viewer.
I think
I would have thought it would be kind of weird for them talking through two plexiglasses at each other.
But you know what? It didn't seem that way.
It didn't.
It seemed totally safe and totally fine.
The town hall will be interesting because if you remember Clinton and Trump, they would walk amongst each other quite a bit.
You
got that optic. Trump is huge.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton's not.
Yeah.
And so it was weird. Not weird, but it was kind of like, whoa, you don't see them next to each other that often, even at debates. So it was weird to see them interacting that closely and talking to each other and down at each other. And I don't think we're going to actually see that in this one, though, because they'll be separated. They'll probably have them where you have to stay on this side and you have to stay on this side, and so that we won't see them walking amongst each other as much, which in a town hall is going to be kind of strange because they pace, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm interested to see how that's going to look. But they've got to be safe, especially because Trump he has COVID.
and he'll be getting off of his quarantine right up close to the nick of time of that debate, right? I think debate is what, 14th?
It's next Thursday. Yeah,
The
next Thursday.
15th?
It's next Thursday
15th.
and the following Thursday, and then that next Tuesday is the election.
So they're going to have to be really just cautious enough, especially because both are at the at-risk population.
We're on the
Katie
radio.
and
Hang
Ryan
on.
look so pensive right now, and there's a Mike Pence big head cut out behind them, and I just some Stumpy's whiskey. I just don't know.
Look,
What is it?
we're being slammed on the radio, and you know the truth because you're here.
Wait, did
I
Amy
don't
just
know.
look like she was in a panic?
She did look panicked, and she sounded like she was going to cry, and I feel sorry for her right now. I truly do.
What? He'll be off his quarantine. Testing negative. Yeah.
I asked that question the other day. How long does it take for somebody to test negative after having it now? I still don't know the answer.
And he's probably getting tested multiple times a day. Pete Buttigieg. I'm interested to see what he has to
Okay,
say.
let's see.
You know, the VP kept trying to create this picture that everything's going along just fine in America.
So Pete Buttigieg is on MSNBC right now.
Explaining
It sounds to me. So we watched some Fox. Andy's
Oh,
back.
there.
Yeah, we're still here.
We're still
Are you
here.
guys doing good? Did you lose all of our watchers?
Yeah,
we did
they're
not.
gone.
We
I
lost.
read-
We kept all the important ones.
Buttigieg has the nose sweat again.
Yeah, he does,
Why?
but he doesn't have a head fly.
I'm just interested because I thought I mean, as we all already know, they had a good relationship. Buttigieg and Pence had a good relationship working together.
Yeah, but that's not
No,
politically
he's-
expedient.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I
Okay.
was just on the radio, and I talked about you people here.
What did you say about the fine people here?
Well, the last question that Tony asked me, he goes, Annie, do you have any idea what Ryan and Katie are doing on your YouTube channel right now? And I said, I don't. I have no idea. I got to go get back.
We were defending these fine people while you abandoned them. Is what was really going on. Yeah.
Are you okay, Annie? I love it. All right. So let's see here. Before we wrap it up here, final thoughts. Ryan, this is something we just talked about on the radio.
Okay.
Does anything change? And did anybody's stock go up tonight? Did anybody's stock go down tonight? Let's just ask that question.
I think Kamala Harris accomplished enough of what she needed to accomplish to keep it pretty even. I don't know that she added anybody. I don't know that she lost anybody. However, and of course I'm biased because I'm rooting for the guy, but I do think that Pence, there's a narrative that's been happening over the last week after the first debate that, well, I just want an adult. I don't like these guys because they're not adult.
Oh, yeah.
Pence just killed that. Actually, whose stock went down tonight? Joe Jorgensen. Because there were a whole bunch of people going, I don't know if I like the personality of Trump. I like some of his policies, but I don't like his personality. Pence just helped that. So that's my assessment.
Katie?
Susan Page, her stock went up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that even means it's going to be like wild or anything, but she definitely will have some positive reviews and positive things said about her, I think. Or even better, no one's going to say anything about her because she was irrelevant, because that's what you're supposed to be.
That's a good point too.
I think both people set out and they met their goal. They completed and they met their objective, which was to be calm, cool, and collective, to show the opposite of what just happened in the other debate. So there, I think both stocks went up. For whoever you are rooting for, whoever you believe in, you got what you wanted tonight, and you came in with the mindset that these two people were going to make clear political policy comments, and we heard what they had to say.
So do you think that this debate, so Trump tweeted out that Mike Pence is doing great. Do you think that this debate has an actual effect on the way that Donald Trump debates next week?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
You do?
Yeah, we talked about that while you were not.
Oh, well, it must be a great question.
That's why it's such a good question, Annie.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think he was watching it just to sort of wrap that up a little bit into a bow. He was watching, and he's been listening to the criticism of his first debate. You know he has.
Do you
And
think he
watched-
knows that he blew it?
I don't think that he
Or
knows
do you
he
think,
blew it.
because people
Because I
like
don't
that,
think he did blow it.
if you have a big ego, which he has a sizable ego, do you think, I mean, those people will be like, I did fine, but the people just didn't get it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I did it the way I wanted to do it, and people just aren't, like, they can't handle it or whatever.
No, I think he probably recognizes from the criticism that he could have done better. I don't think he thinks he did a bad job, but I also think that he'll watch this and know that he can beat the other side, whether it's Joe Biden or anybody else. It'll be Joe Biden, of course, on just policy. He's knowledgeable enough, especially having been president for 4 years now and having been tested at every turn, to be able to just talk policy and win. And I think that he'll realize that between now and Thursday.
Before we wrap it up here, I just want to say thank you to the people who gave us some super chats on our YouTube page. And if you are watching on YouTube right now, if you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button, it's free to do that, and it does help us a lot because YouTube, like we live stream the radio show every day, noon to 3, and if we try to monetize that, it tells us we have limited availability. It basically just pulls us way back from what we can make off of that because of the content of our show. So when you give us thumbs up and stuff on the YouTube video, if you're watching on YouTube, please just click that thumbs up because that tells YouTube that we are putting out content that real people value. So that's very helpful. So I just want to thank these super chat folks here. Pam sent $15 on the YouTube super chat. Kevin with $5 for hand clapping. It was amazing. Don't get any ideas. Thomas with $5. Jackie with $5. Kevin with $4.99. That's awesome. TT24, that's Taratina, $19.99. Thank you. Sent a super sticker. A $10 super chat from James. Thank you very much. And Jeremy, a $10 super chat there as well. Super grateful for that. I sent this to you after the debate last time, and I don't know if we talked about this a little bit, but Disney Plus has just launched a Watch Together.
I saw that. We didn't talk about it, but I did see it.
So we could, like, have you ever seen The Greatest Showman, Ryan?
No.
It's so good. So we can, like, watch The Greatest Showman together. We could you've never seen Hocus Pocus, right? We could wake and watch Hocus Pocus together, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? And you guys can watch it with us if you have Disney Plus, of course. Or we can do other things, like Katie sings, and I can play guitar and stuff, and Ryan can clap. I mean, I would really like to do one where Ryan puts together an actual stand-up comedy routine, and you come over here and we put you up there as a stand-up comedian, and Katie and I sit here and we decide whether we laugh or not.
Yes.
I've got something I can.
You've got something?
I'll tell you about it. Okay.
You can keep it?
I'll tell you right now. Okay, and you
Tease
can
it
tell me
up.
whether you think this is a good idea, because I think this would be a lot.
I think they can tell us if it's going to be worth our time.
This is a good idea.
Brad says he'd super chat that, so.
I wrote an entire, I'd say probably half a set. So a good 10, 15 minutes for Victoria Jackson from Saturday Night Live, because I was writing with her for a little while. I wrote it. She never used it because she thought it was too weird.
I'm so shocked.
And now we're looking at Annie.
Yeah, you're like, I know where I could use this.
So
I know where it would be great.
I don't really do stand up, but I could bring that set and present what I presented to her.
I don't know.
Do you know what would be funny?
Nobody's ever seen a bit of that.
Ryan, you should write a set like that for Katie to do.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I would do it.
I'll write it. I'll
do
take
it.
what I have written, which is it's not like fully formed thoughts sometimes, but you'll have to go
If it
with
were, would it be better?
I
No.
can do it. I'll do it.
There's like a paragraph that's like, here's one train of thought, and then it jumps to a different one. So
Can't wait.
I need
okay.
to get a teleprompter now.
Yeah. Yes.
Joe Biden is already on top of this.
You know what
fly
we should
thing.
do? I should get Victoria to zoom in to see it with us.
Oh my God.
Do you want to see what you passed up on? Watch this.
Look at what you're missing out on, girl. Joe Biden says, pitching $5 to help this campaign fly with him in a fly swatter.
He did it. Oh boy. Joe Biden has no idea that this is
He
happening.
doesn't know what is happening in that picture.
Joe's like, you want me to hold this fly swatter? Why would I hold the fly swatter?
Why?
Give me a break, folks.
He went to sleep at 7. So
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for watching with us. Ryan, is Trump gonna be there to debate next week?
yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Yes, he is. You know he is. Make sure you give us the thumbs up on the YouTube channel, please, and thank you. It really, really helps a lot. And go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and you can subscribe there. And because I think these lifestyle things we're probably just going to be doing on the YouTube page. So if you want to get notifications that we're going live or that we're doing something, then you can click the little bell that's on the Annie Fry YouTube page. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We love you and we appreciate you, and we will do this again tomorrow at noon, and all 3 of us will be there on the air together, Ryan Wiggins.
Yes,
We assume.
yes,
We
we will.
assume.
In
That was
theory.
always the plan.
In
but-
theory. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching.